Hello, Internet. Welcome to the latest episode of Yeah, I've Played. It's Hidden Machine's long-form discussion show where the guys, as I like to call them, will play the same game and then get together to talk about their experiences.
The boys.
The boys. I'm 40. I'm 40, but I'm still one of the boys with a Z.
Boy.
Of course, I'm joined by Jordan Hill, who is joined by me, Matt Hall. We are co-hosting. We are joined as one.
Joined together at the hip. In a basket case scenario.
It's more of a basket case 2 scenario.
That movie was preserved by the MoMA.
Wow.
Yeah.
It should be.
Yeah, as far as like practical effects.
And like a snapshot of
an era.
Yeah, of New York at that time, and
yeah, that's fair.
You know, as much as it's like a fiction. But we're not here to talk about Basket Case, although we might get into some Green Day talk.
Oh no.
Half-Life is a game that we played. I've played Half-Life so many times since it came out. Not all the way through, though. I never beat it until this time.
I hadn't beat it either. I think I'm like looking back on it, I'm like, I know I played through it twice without beating it. Mm-hmm. And like in my memory, I was like, yeah, I finished Black Mesa when it came out. I definitely never finished Black Mesa.
Okay.
Because after finishing this now, I'm like, I didn't do that.
Well,
like that Boss Baby at the end. I didn't fight Boss Baby.
Yeah, I didn't care for that. But we'll get into that.
Getting ahead of ourselves.
I struggle to think again of like other games before this that had one perpetual map like that you just went through. I mean, obviously there's a couple transitions. There's where you get knocked out or you get teleported, but even those are very. It's still very smooth, and you also you always know where you are in relation to the rest of the world.
Yeah,
you know. Whether you are in another realm or not, you know at least that's the border planet. And yeah, so I don't know. I mean, I'd love to know if there is something, and I've tried to like look up like games that came before Fallout that had a similar degree of just how strong the adventure narrative is of you're going on this journey with this character. That is how all games are now.
Yeah.
But that wasn't how games were before, especially shooters that came even just a few years before. It was very much like get to the end of the map.
Yeah, 100%.
Then you go to the loading screen, go to the next map.
You weren't literally on rails, but like you might as well have been a lot of the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, I know that like, and this game was built on the Quake engine, and I know even like a game like Quake iterated a lot on shooters game before it, but I don't know. I don't know. If maybe you know, but I couldn't find anything that was like this fully realized, and it really felt, even still, it feels like a very modern game when we've played other older games, both together for the show and in our personal lives, and
some older, some even like right around the same time.
Yeah,
a lot of them do not play as well.
Yeah,
not at all. Like a lot of them are obtuse.
yeah, for sure. So I guess all that is just a long-winded way to say like this is a very important game, but also like at the time it felt incredibly immersive because I had never played another game where it was like you're just in this world, and there's no, I mean, there are boundaries, but it's not like, oh, that's the beginning of the map, and that's the exit. Go find the keys, which is like what almost every shooter was.
Right, yeah. Or like just defeat these enemies and then enter the exit zone, you know, whether it's like a glowing spot or a door, you just fucking head out.
Yeah, and like the level of interactivity with the objects and environment and stuff, like
having to like problem solve to get into different areas, stack stuff on top of each other. Being able to backtrack.
I'd say GoldenEye is the closest thing.
That's the closest.
And even that's level based. You're stopping But just being able to do certain things in GoldenEye where but those are, I mean, that's still very linear where it's like you have to start in the air vents.
Yes.
You don't have to go find the vent, open it up, and explore through. So it's like games were touching on these sorts of ideas, but I'd never seen them executed so fully realized. And damn, the game. I mean, we have the benefit of having played the 25th anniversary update.
Yeah.
Which fixed tons of stuff. And the change log is huge for those updates. They fixed like some animations that had been broken since launch.
Right, which you don't even... That's just cool to see because there's so many old games that we've played where it's like we have to put so much effort into just like finding something that's going to work all the way through.
Yeah. I still did run into some issues, but very minor. I had like Z fighting with textures where textures would kind of like warp in and out of a wall.
Right.
Like
I had that happen
signs.
once or twice. I had to exit the game entirely and come back in when you get knocked out and dragged away. I just stayed on a black screen for like a full 2 minutes after that, and I was like, that doesn't seem right. So I restarted it, and then it was good to go.
Spoiler alert, we're covering Half-Life 2 eventually, and I had more problems getting Half-Life 2 to run properly than I did Half-Life 1.
Yeah, and I mean, same. You had to just literally, you were watching me stream being like, this looks like crap. What's wrong? And I was like...
Yeah,
I thought it like... I was
brightness
like,
thing.
To a degree, there was something that I was like, this does look kind of weird, but I just kind of like brushed it off, and I was like, I haven't played this in like 10 years. So maybe that's all it is. You know what I mean?
And it did, it looked terrible to me because I had just seen what it's supposed to look like. But I was like, damn, there are people who play this and would never know that the maps aren't supposed to look this way because it still looks pretty good.
Yeah, it looks fine.
It's not like it's missing all the mood. I'm basically, I might even be able to show footage here, but it's just like the environmental lighting and shading just wasn't present. And that's like... That's a thing where, like, to get it working for me, I had to, like, do a fix, and then I was like, oh, that fix didn't work. I had to, like, apply a different fix to even get the first fix to recognize.
Yeah,
you had to go through a different process than I
had to
did.
put in launch commands, which I've never done that before for any game, so I was like, all right.
Yeah.
New territory.
I also have had quite a few crashes with Half-Life 2.
Yeah? I haven't, thankfully. I've lucked
Games
out,
never crash for me.
Yeah.
It's so rare, and Half-Life 2 has crashed a bunch.
That sucks.
Thankfully, it saves regularly, and you can quick save and shit. But so I mean, I guess what I'm trying to get is like we're playing the best version of the game that's ever existed. I think in terms of getting it raw out of the box.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean they updated it for the first time in 25 years, so it's like,
and they did several updates after, which is just crazy. I mean, please make it so Max Payne can launch. You know what I mean?
Please, I beg of you.
Jesus Christ. So we normally talk about the kind of graphics and presentation and everything, and I don't know. I don't think we have the HD textures on by default, which I remember that being a thing and that a lot of people didn't like them.
I don't believe so. No, this looked pretty original.
But I think there were, and I'm pulling this out of my ass just from like, just all the reading I've been doing on Fallout over the last few months.
Or Half-Life.
Yes, Half-Life. I keep thinking about Fallout because of the wonderful Fallout TV show.
Oh, it's so good.
Also, like the names are so similar in my head because just the F and the L.
Yeah, well, it's the same amount of syllables. It's, you know what I mean? They're both iconic games from a similar era.
But I think that there were updates to the models that weren't the full 8. I think there was like somewhere in between the original models and the HD model pack. And I could be wrong about that, but I think there was.
Okay.
And I guess what I'm saying is like, commenting on the graphics, I can only comment on what I experienced. And I don't really know if that's the normal experience or,
you know what I mean? A slightly improved experience.
How
or whatever,
far is it from the original?
Yeah. I mean, I think it looked fine. You know what I mean? I think it looks good.
I think it looks good. It's got a very cohesive art style.
It is funny the funniest thing to me going from Half-Life to Half-Life 2 is that they're like, remember these characters, and they suddenly have like detailed faces. I'm like, I don't know, everybody looked literally the fucking same in Half-Life.
And there's like 4 models.
Yeah,
in
there's
Half-Life.
4 models, and there's 30 doctors you run into. You know what I mean? And I'm like, I don't know who was who.
There's the 2 white guys and the black guy.
That's it. Or there might be 3 white guys.
There's the bald guy, the Einstein guy, and maybe a third one.
Oh, there might not be a third one. It might just be bald Einstein and black guy.
And then all the security guards look the same.
Yep.
And then there's the G-Man.
Yeah, one of them you're supposed to be like, oh, that's Barry, and I'm like, that's the same that's the same fucking guy.
and you know, and we got to play as Barry and Barry's Adventure.
Barry's
Half-Life : Barry's Adventure. But yeah, I mean, the art style's just tight. Like, enemies look great.
Yeah.
The animations are great. The lighting's good. Everything is fucking tight.
Yeah, I really like, this is, it's from 1998, right?
Yeah.
It looks great for 1998. You know what I mean? I can think of N64 titles that I was playing at that same time that looked worse than this.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Plenty of it. And I mean, admittedly, I'm sure the N64 had different processing abilities than a PC at that time, but still, I'm sure it wasn't that different.
Yeah, I mean, even other PC games that I've looked at from around the same time don't. It's just such a cohesive art style. Like, every element really looks good. And it's got such a distinct vibe when you get outside, like the purpley kind of mountains and stuff.
God, yeah,
it's
yeah,
like
yeah. It's very
so fucking cool.
I love it. It's like, because it almost feels like you can't escape. It makes it feel like you're in the middle of nowhere. They do such a good job when you get outside to being like, oh fuck, this is really like, it's vast out here. You know what I mean? I might be in like a confined space, but like, I am nowhere near anything probably. Which is why.
And beyond that, the sound, I don't know if the sound is good in this game or if it's just so burned into my brain, like the reverb that you and the
when you land and when you hit things with the crowbar,
yeah,
cling, 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 yeah,
and the way those sound effects work, and all like the and
I like a lot of those.
You know,
some of it is jarring though. There are moments where like suddenly like a doctor will yell at you, and I'm like, why is that so much louder than everything else? You know what I mean?
Or like when I have to break something open, it's just like.
There's a couple moments. There was a couple moments while I was streaming where I'm like, this must sound horrendous for someone.
I was gaming in here, and my wife was on the couch, and she's like, can you like. Turn the sound down a little bit or something. I was like, I kind of like need to hear because like when guys are talking, I gotta like know what's going on because like
occasionally someone comes up behind you and goes,
yeah, and sometimes you just walk up to someone, they're like, Gordon Freeman, I'm going to give you some directions now, and it's like I gotta know what you're saying.
Yeah, I have to understand what you're telling me to do.
But it's incredibly memorable sound.
Yeah,
you know
no,
what I mean?
for sure. Yeah,
I just don't know. It's hard to. I go. I guess that means it's good. I don't know. The sounds are so stuck in my brain. It's hard to say if they're that iconic or if I just played it too much.
Yeah, it is hard to say. Where it's like, I don't know. It's like, are they good sounds? Yes. Like, but as far as like, I feel like the levels could have used a little bit of work.
Yeah, and I also thought it was very awkward that music would only come in sometimes.
Yeah,
and then, but like, I guess like sometimes I would like trip the music cue, but I wouldn't like go all the way into the next area.
Yeah,
and then the music would fade out, and I'd be like in an intense action section with no music
playing anymore because you already triggered it. Yeah, that happened to me a couple times.
And I go, that kind of sucks. And what I used to do is if I remember correctly. I recall correctly. Well, you could put. I don't say that anymore. You could put a CD in your CD drive, and Half-Life would pull the tracks from the CD and play them at those music cue moments.
Oh yeah, that's
and
sick
to
as
my
hell.
Memory, I used to play the Queen of the Damned soundtrack.
Yeah,
which is just like a new metal. Compilation.
I'm trying to remember it was a. Oh, you know it has a great soundtrack. Dracula 2000. I don't know if it's great, but that's another very new metal heavy soundtrack.
Was that the one I used? I gotta look it up real quick.
Dracula 2000 was a good soundtrack.
Dracula 2000. Oh my god, it may have. It was that because I was
Yeah.
listening to the Metro.
Yep, that's a great System of a Down cover. Yeah.
Yeah, and Static X,
Yep.
Head PE, Swan Dive is a very disturbing song. It really upset me. Yeah, Ultra Mega.
Yep.
Yeah, wow, that's crazy that I had that wrong.
And that I just recently listened to the Dracula 2000 soundtrack.
Dracula 2000 came out in 99. Well, recorded in 99, 2000 came out in December 2000. Yeah, that checks out.
Yeah, because Queen of the Damned, I think, was like 2004.
2002.
Okay.
Which also is a decent soundtrack. It has you know, a lot of the
I think
bands people might
Deftones.
like. Deftones.
Deftones are definitely on there.
Marilyn Manson.
Yep.
Static X. David Draymond.
Never a big Deftones fan.
Me either. A lot of my friends were. I thought it was okay, and they've gotten a big resurgence of popularity in recent times, and I go, I still feel like it's pretty okay.
Yeah, when System of a Down did their like first reunion tour, they toured with the Deftones.
That must have been nice for some people.
Yeah, not for me. I liked seeing System of a Down, but I was like, I don't need to see the Deftones at all.
Did you go see them?
Yeah, but I saw them on like when they hit a festival on their run. So I saw them at Heavy Montreal.
Wow.
So I got to see like Marilyn Manson and Slipknot and Gojira, Dillinger Escape Plan, bunch of fucking people.
I used the
Cannibal
Gojira
Corpse.
amp simulator plugin to play guitar on my computer. Man, I'd love to see System of a Down in the past.
They were some of the songs were 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
Some of them I was like, eh.
Yeah, I believe it.
Serge stopped screaming for a little while. He like wouldn't do it. He wouldn't yell or scream. He would just go into his like operatic vocals anytime that it was like a screaming part, other than a couple moments. And I was kind of like, well, it's not. You're kind of ruining the whole energy of the song.
Now, he matured as an artist, actually.
With Jazz is Christ.
I don't need to get into this, but
Sorry.
the first System of a Down record is flawless. Toxicity is pretty good, but I don't like it as much. And everything else after that is just slowly diminishing returns. Then there's just like a point where it just goes bam, and there's a massive drop off where I go, wow, all this sucks.
Steal This album.
Solo records and everything.
Yeah. Steal This album was all
Worse
right.
and worse and worse.
And then Mesmerize and Hypnotize, Step Down. And then Elect the Dead, you're like, okay. Hard to Carry, awful. Imperfect Harmonies, awful. You know what I mean? Jesus Christ, awful.
Scars on Broadway.
Scars on Broadway, horrible. Scars on Broadway, bad all the way through.
Also, the whatever the drummer's band is called, I can't remember.
Oh, I can't remember either. He's a bootlicker.
No. No.
No, that's definitely not why they won't get together to record anymore.
No.
Because they can't all. He's also, oh my god. Not to get too into it. My favorite thing in the world was when they like played in Brazil for the first time in a long time, and at like at the end of the show, everybody else had gone off the stage, and their drummer John comes up and he just goes, "Get ready for a new album coming next year."
Oh no!
And they hadn't been working on anything, and then they all had to be like, "We're not doing an album." And it was people were very like,
damn,
upset.
To my memory, the drummer's album is just covers of rock songs he likes, and he got other people to sing.
Remember, yeah. I never gave it a.
I think Serge does a Bowie cover on there. Well, anyway, I would have appreciated if the music cues worked a little differently, but also I just accept, hey, I triggered it. I should have just gone forward. I wasn't playing the game the way they intended.
No.
But it's also such an open-ended game
that rewards you exploring so often. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? That it's kind of like, if I walk in and it's a boss fight and I still wanted to keep exploring, I'm gonna leave. You know what I mean? And I'm gonna be like, not yet.
And some of the music tracks are like 30 seconds maybe.
Yeah.
And I go, just loop it until I get done with the part.
Yeah, loop it until I leave the area.
Yeah.
Like have it trigger off at a certain point. You know what I mean?
I like the music in Half-Life 2, but Half-Life as well, but I don't really like know it very well because it comes in so briefly. I go,
exactly.
Oh yeah, that's that groove. Okay, but I can't like recall any of the songs.
No, it feels like generic like MDK music, you know what I mean, to my memory during the fights and stuff.
I did like when the intro song, the dung dung.
Oh yeah.
From the intro when you first launch the game.
That's also sounded like the Breaking Bad intro.
I never watched that, but
No, it's the same thing pretty much.
like I think when you first exit that big pipe and you find yourself on the face of the cliff, is when that music hits. I believe.
Yeah. Because it's as the light is blinding you.
Yeah,
and then you kind of come in and like the bird flies away or whatever. And
it's like
that was cool.
Man,
that was cool.
Pretty good. Now, I guess
Thanks,
we'll get into the game itself. But firstly, I feel like this could be a very long talk, or it could be pretty brief. But did you do the hazard course ever? The training, the tutorial.
Yeah. No. Yes, I did. Yeah.
I just thought that was fucking cool. You had like the scientists like guiding you along, teaching you how to use the suit, and it just like. That's very commonplace now to have like a little tutorial where it's like, hey, buddy, we're going to run you through the ropes here and
show you what's going on. Yeah.
It's in a lot of games, but the way it worked, the way you were in like a different part of the Black Mesa facility, it just like it made the world that much more immersive for me back in the day.
Yeah. Well, because so many games go with like that are in like so many games in this world or that are similar to Half-Life would do the cop out and be like, we're putting you into a simulation, you know what I mean? And then you'd be in some stupid thing where it's like, okay,
the simulate. I always go, that sucks.
Yeah, that's boring.
Also, like I get it. I'm suspending my disbelief because it's a video game, but like, do you guys like just you have like the X-Men Danger Room or something here? Like, what is this?
Exactly. Yeah.
Is it VR?
Are we on the Enterprise? Is this the holodeck? Like, what's going on?
It's always just outlandish for it to be like, this is effective?
Yeah.
Like,
we have
battle training? Like, you must have an insane simulation going on here.
But no. It's just a cop. It just always feels like a cop out.
So we have the same notes up here. I'm pulling these notes from the fandom wiki. And I don't normally do that, but I couldn't really like I usually write my own notes entirely for this show, but I couldn't like be concise about anything.
And it's hard in games like this from this era where it's like you do have to, like you said, you have to be listening so closely to what like the people are saying to like, tell you where to go. Half the time, like I'm going the right way, but I don't know where I've just been.
Right.
You know what I mean? I couldn't be like, well, you leave sector blank to go to sector whatever. And then they're like, I can't delineate any of that. You know what I mean? Like,
and in one sense, you are kind of like feeling the same sort of like discombobulation that Gordon's feeling.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, I just fucking had to like crawl into a hole and I came out in another part of the building and I'm getting chased.
I'm getting shot at. There's monsters here now.
Our pets' heads are falling off.
Our pets' heads are falling off.
So one thing that Jordan, I think likes to do is impressions.
Yeah, I love impressions.
And I think you do.
No, I do. I do like to try to do impressions. Yeah, it's fun.
So there's quotes at the top of each chapter here. There's a quote from the holographic assistant for the hazard course. I figured you could try to give us your best.
I don't remember what the holographic assistant sounded like.
I think it's just the female voice you hear occasionally in the game.
Hello, and welcome to the Black Mesa hazard course.
Hey, not too bad.
By the end, I got there. I started a little too sultry at the beginning.
So chapter 1, Black Mesa Inbound. Let's get into the game proper. You're with people you should respect. Hopefully. Can we get the Black Mesa announcement system quote here?
Sure.
This will really set the tone.
Black Mesa. This train is inbound from level 3 dormitories to Sector C test labs and control facilities.
Control.
Take control.
It's my favorite game about control, basically. I mean, really, that's what the theme is.
And I think I just like hit it.
I love fucking with them like that.
They're all like, hey, come on.
This whole intro scene where you're in chapter 2 now, Anomalous Materials. And I mean, why not get this wonderful quote from you?
They're waiting for you, Gordon, in the test chamber.
I have one note on the line read. Do you remember how he goes, in the test chamber.
Oh, yes.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes,
it's
yeah,
like
it's
he
like
says it
ominous.
so ominously. It's stuck out to me so
They're
hard.
waiting for you, Gordon, in the test chamber.
It's so weird.
Like, why
His
are you-
tone gets so dark
in the
there.
test chamber. Like, okay.
They're waiting for you, Gordon, in the test chamber.
Well, it does seem like some of the scientists that work there are not super stoked on what's going on there.
No, they think it's a little fucked up. And when you learn what is actually going on, which I don't think I even fully understood until now.
What is going on?
You cause a resonance cascade. No.
What? No. What?
Yeah. No, that's what the whole thing is. I thought No, I didn't realize, and we're getting a little ahead of ourselves, but I didn't realize the subject for the experiment, the sample material or whatever.
Right.
I didn't realize that was like a crystal from Zen.
Oh, okay.
I didn't really know what that was.
Yeah,
I
didn't even think about it, really. You know what I mean? I was just like, there's the thing. It's the sample.
Yeah, I think I just read that somewhere. I was like, oh, that makes sense. And it's like, I don't know if they say that somewhere, but
I'm sure the fact that you see crystals exactly like it on Zen when you're there.
No, that would make sense.
Yeah.
But the idea of being like, oh, we've been pulling materials from this other realm, and now we're gonna do like a dangerous experiment on it. Great.
We're gonna see what happens when we shoot stuff at it.
Like I could see, I could see some of the guys in the crew being like, yeah, God,
don't know how
damn
to feel,
it.
yeah.
This whole thing before you go into the test chamber and you're just exploring. I also spent a ton of time just playing with this as a kid.
Yeah,
Like,
just wandering around this area.
There's a bunch of stuff. There's the microwave.
You got the break room. You have the microwave, the vending machines.
Explode the guy's food if you want.
He gets very upset.
The locker room.
Yep.
With your locker.
You had to tell me to go back and check my locker.
Oh, yeah.
For some reason, I didn't this time. I just like fucking ran through it.
Yeah, you get a little power core for your HEV suit.
HEV. Give you...
It's such a good sound. And then the other one, suck.
I know it is.
Suck. I think that's how it sounds.
It's exactly what it sounds like.
It's just a very cool, fleshed out environment.
Yeah, and it just goes to, I mean, it's like, I think it is just kind of getting you prepared for the rest of the game.
Yeah.
Because like you said, there weren't many things like this for you to be like, oh, I can just kind of wander around and explore, and it's not really gonna, people will be like, Gordon, you gotta go, if you try to go the one way,
Yeah.
the guy's gonna be like, Gordon, you gotta go get your suit on before you head into the lab. And
Right.
You're like, oh, okay, I'll figure that out. But like, you are just kind of free to do whatever you want right there. You can
Yeah.
totally miss the break room if you want to and not even fucking look at it. You know what I mean?
And you can kind of like see other places that you're not going to just yet.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think it's in this area that you can, like, through one of the windows, you can see a scientist talking to the G-Man.
Or is it right? Yeah, or is that when he's at a desk in a different like entrance area? I think
It's somewhere. I just think it's.
Something
I
like
think
that,
it was before the accident.
Yeah, because you see him on the tram.
You do
There's
see him
one
on the
point when
tram
you
as
stop on
well.
the tram, and he's on another tram coming by you, and you guys like both stop for a. You guys both stop for a moment, and then
Yes.
like you just keep going in opposite.
And if anyone
directions.
doesn't know, of course, the G-Man is just a guy in a blue suit who is confusing and weird. And you see him from a distance, and you can never touch him.
He is a man in black. Basically, that's what it's no Wild Wild West, but
Means what you think you saw, you did not see. So if you like get near us, don't fear us.
a wiki wow, a wiki wow wow.
What's that stand for? Man in Black. I just picked that CD up recently for like 50 cents, and it's got a
Men in
Tribe
Black
Called
soundtrack?
Quest song I never heard. Yeah,
Really?
It's like a pretty good like hip hop and R&B soundtrack. It's
Yeah.
not at all what I expected. I thought it'd be kind of like stuff just like Will Smith, and it's like it's a lot more diverse than that.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a pretty cool Tribe Called Quest song on there.
Fuck yeah.
I'm wondering if there's any other little doodads I didn't mention, but
When you're wandering around in this little part, I don't think so, because you get to go to your
you can
locker.
fuck with the guy in the bathroom a little bit.
Oh yeah, you can jiggle the stall doors, right?
Yeah.
And he'll be like, "Hey!"
Yeah, and he says, "I'm pooping." I'm pretty sure is what it happens. And
That's pretty confident. With, I'm pooping.
so one thing I read about recently is that people have been debating ever since, was Gordon wearing a helmet as part of his HEV suit? Because you see other people in the HEV suits later in the game.
Yeah, they're wearing helmets, but there isn't one when I'm pretty confident when you grab it out of its thing, there's not a helmet there. It's just the suit.
We'll check the tape.
You gotta
No,
check
that's
the
how I
tapes.
felt too.
Mm-hmm. Well, and it's also like in on the start screen, you know what I mean? And anything you see, any image of it, it's Gordon without a helmet on.
No, that's also true.
So, I don't know.
Yeah. I don't even know why it would be up for debate.
Yeah, I could be misremembering the suit. If the suit has a helmet on it when you grab it, and the helmet,
I don't think it does.
and the helmet disappears, then sure, he puts the helmet on. But I don't remember seeing a helmet.
Yeah, and you're saying
No?
helmet too much for my comfort. I gotta move on, or else it's gonna get very
Come on, helmet head,
sticky.
get it up.
Once you get your suit on, you gotta go to the Anomalous Materials lab. You go into the test chamber, and this is like, there's a giant thing. It's the anti-mass spectrometer. There's a big, I don't know what that means. I think it's a portal machine.
I think anti-mass spectrometer also is just like a thing people have just called something in science fiction for a long time. You know what I mean? Well, that's the anti-mass spectrometer. And you're like, what does it do? Well, whatever we want it to, really.
It's a sonic reducer. You got to go up a little ladder, like start the machine and shit.
You gotta hop down.
This whole thing is like, I don't know. It's so cool. Like, to even get in there, like, these two scientists have to like each go to their own ocular scanners, and like look in them, and that, like, you know, like two keys, like a super dangerous place. And so Gordon's in the test chamber, and basically what they have is just a crystal they got from another planet that they want to shove into this giant beam of energy.
Yeah, just to see what happens.
And everything explodes.
In the words of the scientist, I never thought I'd see a resonance cascade, let alone create one.
Pretty good. Yeah, everything explodes. You pass out, but you're like, things are blacking out. You transport. You're like in another world. There's like aliens all around you. You don't know what's going on. They're not hostile toward you.
No.
And then you wake up in the wreckage, which does bring us to chapter 3, Unforeseen Consequences. I didn't see that coming. It's like, did you really not? Gordon, I'm gonna read this
You didn't
from
see it
the.
at all? Not at all. Not even. Well, you couldn't have.
Some people gave
Not
the
an
impression
inkling.
that they did, actually.
It seems like some people said that might happen.
Gordon regains his, and again, I'm quoting from the wiki. Just want to be fair. This isn't my words, and also I have badmouthed fan wikis in the past because the Remedy ones are sometimes fucked.
And the MDK one sucked too, because we were trying to go over the list of enemies, and then we named like 3 they didn't have on there.
Yeah, so but part of me is thinking like maybe the Fallout fandom, Half-Life fandom is old enough.
Well, that's, I mean, and not to confuse you further, but I also feel similarly about the Fallout fandom.
Yeah.
Where it's like, if I do need to look something up about Fallout, I will often go to the fan wiki, because I'm like, they do, you know.
Yeah.
These are big fucking nerds out here.
Gordon regains his consciousness inside of the destroyed test chamber. Looking for a way out, he notices the whole facility around him has received a massive structural damage. Most of the personnel is dead, and aliens begin to teleport into the facility.
Whoa!
After being told that all phones are out, Gordon is requested by one of his colleagues to try to make it to the surface in order to acquire help. Starting his journey, Gordon finds a crowbar to help him get past obstacles, and since the tram system is too damaged to work, to find a way out, he must cross the Sector B Coolant Reserve facility, now overrun with alien creatures, occasionally witnessing the mysterious suited man from earlier, watching him from out-of-reach places, always walking off before Gordon can get to him.
He's elusive. I shot at him sometimes. If
I
he was
always
I
did.
always, if I could shoot at him, I shot at him. It doesn't do anything.
No.
Nope. Which sucks.
But this first section where you first get your crowbar and you're just like, you're like shit's like exploding around you. Like, again, super impactful. The lights are out. Everything. People are dead. They got the head crabs on them and shit. And one thing that's cool is like, it kind of like sets you up to be like, all right, you got this melee weapon.
Yeah.
Here's how to use it. You'll get a gun. You got like 6 bullets at first.
Yeah. And you do not find ammo for a little. You don't find much ammo, at least. You
Yeah.
can maybe maintain those 6 bullets. You know what I mean?
Which, I think that I had the most fun with Half-Life when I was like swapping weapons regularly and approaching each kind of scenario, each battle as its own thing. And that was something that I noticed in Half-Life 2. They leaned into a lot harder, where there was like way more. It's like every time there was an enemy encounter, there's like exploding barrels behind the enemies.
Yes.
Almost every fucking time.
Something that you can use to...
Like, you could almost lighten up on that a little bit. But also you can get creative with it because of the gravity gun and other objects you can carry with you.
Right.
But this game, it doesn't rely on the same exact, there's not, I just know it was crazy how many times in Half-Life 2 so far. I'm not quite to the end yet, but so many exploding barrels right next to groups of enemies.
Yeah, that is. I mean, like the beginning sections are like, it's very front loaded with that because it wants you to make it through. You know what I mean? Like they are overpowered compared to you.
But that's sort of like that thing where you got to like look at the situation and approach it, tactfully and tactically, more tactically than tactfully. But
some of them must be approached tactfully.
Yes, well, they require respect. It's cool. It's fucking cool, and it's cool that like, it immediately is like crowbar is viable. You can take out the head crabs easier with it, and you're gonna be low on ammo. It's the kind of thing where it's like I don't often swap to a melee weapon in certain games. I go, I'm gonna have tons of ammo. It doesn't fucking matter. I'll just shotgun everything.
But in this one, I almost always had my crowbar as the thing to immediately,
quick swap
back to.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
It's good.
Well, and so often it's like in Half-Life 2, it's a little more delineated which boxes you should like, it's clearly marked which boxes you should break. In Half-Life 1, any box could have loot inside of it.
Yes.
So I'm breaking everything.
I'm breaking boxes like mad.
I'm breaking boxes like Wilt Chamberlain.
I'm breaking boxes. So many ways I could go. You ever watching those milk crate challenge videos gone wrong?
Milk crate challenge?
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about?
No.
Oh, this is a huge viral thing like a year or two ago.
Oh, okay. Was it similar to the ice bucket challenge, or was it more like a like a superhuman kind of thing?
What you had to do was just get like a shitload of milk crates, and then you create like a pyramid out of them.
Okay.
Steps.
Yep.
Stack 1, stack 2, stack 3, stack 4, stack 5. And you have to and like most people had like an up and down, so a little pyramid basically.
Yeah.
And you had to walk up it.
Oh, okay.
And a lot of people
went right through.
Well, toppled off, went right through, whatever. It went wrong in a lot of different ways. And that's kind of like what playing this game feels like in some ways.
Because you're constantly on the precipice of disaster.
Yeah, and also constantly falling off shit.
Yeah, and falling through shit sometimes without any warning. Yeah, it falls. It like suffers the pitfall of a lot of like early 3D games that like include platforming, where like the platforming fucking sucks. It's hard, and you're just gonna overshoot what you're jumping for a lot, or you're gonna accidentally run off. And I think part of it is because I was thinking about this the other day, and it was because of Half-Life 1. I think that when they were doing the platforming sections for these games, they were still thinking of it as a 2D side scroller when they were doing that. You know what I mean? So it's like I noticed a lot of the time, like if you're playing Super Mario and you're running up to the edge, you know exactly where the edge of the thing is before you jump because you can just see it. And Half-Life, if you're looking forward to see the thing that you're jumping to, you don't know exactly when the edge is. You have to kind of guess, or you have to look down and jump and then look back. And it's like so many times I would jump just too late. So I wouldn't jump at all. I'd just run and fall, you know what I mean? Or I'd jump just a little too early, so I just wouldn't quite make it, or I'd like hit the edge and slide, you know what I mean?
Lots of
like,
quick saving, lots of saves coming on any part with platforming.
any part with platforming, absolutely. Because I'm like, I'm not gonna get most of the way through this and then fuck it up.
Yeah.
And lose my mind. Especially during the boss baby.
Extremely frustrating for many reasons.
Mm-hmm.
We'll get into that. But Chapter 4, Office Complex.
Hey, what the hell are you doing down here? Get topside. I heard there are troops coming in to save us.
Gordon reaches the administration center at Sector D, where several scientists and security guards are barricaded into the office complex, hiding from the alien creatures. Avoiding the facility's ceiling turrets and the invading Vortigunts, he hears the personnel...
You said gunt.
He hears from the personnel that the military has arrived to rescue the people trapped, but that he should still head for the surface.
Mm-hmm.
This whole section is sick.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think this is where this is where I started to like really feel like more of the adventure-y kind of stuff, because you're like really in it now.
Mm-hmm. And this is when it I thought it was very cool. It didn't always work the best, but you could have any of the scientists or security guards that you run into accompany you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you could do more than like one at a time.
Right.
But it was pretty cool still to have like when, especially in the early sections of the game, when you maybe have 6 bullets in your crowbar, it's nice to have a security guard who can at least get a few shots off.
Totally.
You know what I mean? Even if it's just to let you know the head crab's around the corner, you know?
Yeah.
Or just somebody to sacrifice.
And if you hold the interact button on a scientist, he'll heal you.
Fuck off.
Did you know that?
No.
Like, did you get it? Sometimes they would do it.
Every now and then they do it, but not all the time.
Yeah, they only have a limited amount of
med kits or whatever. Yeah.
But that's how that works.
Okay.
I had to look it up during opposing force, because I was like, why doesn't the medic heal me?
Yeah.
Because like sometimes he would be like, oh, I'm gonna give you a med kit, and then I'd be like,
I gotta check that out in Half-Life 2 then also, because in Half-Life 2 constantly they're like, oh, here's have a med kit.
Yeah.
But then sometimes I'm like, I'm at lower health now and you're not giving me a med kit. Give me a med kit. I'm at 45 health and you're ignoring me. Earlier I was at 75 and you gave me a med kit.
The way you like you can see through the fucking doors and you're like, I gotta get through there. How do I fucking go there? And you're like crawling through, and there's like the electricity puzzles. You gotta kind of like find like clear ways to
like
jump across.
The floor
things.
is lava kind of thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Do you just see a ghost?
It's just when I go like this, like cat fur just flies off me.
Yeah.
I try to sticky roll the hell out of things and vacuum, but it just
there's nothing doing.
Yeah.
I have a robot vacuum. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
It can't keep up.
Yeah. Well, I guess I'll just kill cats. I just gotta kill them.
I just gotta kill my cats.
Yeah, I guess that's what I gotta do.
I gotta drown them in the tub.
Or shave them. I think they'll like it.
Yeah, they'll love it.
They'll like it. Just kidding.
Wax them. Wax your cats.
I brush them.
Yeah.
It's the best I can do.
Mm-hmm.
I really love the look of this with like the shitty couches, like the break room style.
Yeah.
Like
it after having the context of like maybe this place was kind of falling apart already, you know what I mean, and not in good shape. Like seeing like a couch that you'd see on the side of the road, you know what I mean? Like they for sure just got that, like that. I don't know. It was great.
It feels to me like it'd be that like scratchy plaid fabric.
Where you can
many shit couches.
You can feel the fact that it's like a cross knit. You know what I mean? When you touch it, you're.
I don't know what that is. I almost went with a couch like that. I have a shitty couch over here, but it's shitty in a slightly different way.
It's shitty in a classier way.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's still like kind of a loser couch, but it's
it's like
not
old, but it's an old lady couch. This is an old lady couch.
Yes,
you know what I mean.
That's a good way to put it.
You put plastic on this.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Those are like that's in someone's
like a stoner couch.
Yeah, or like it's in someone's furnished basement.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like they have a rug in their cement basement and a TV down there.
Dartboard.
Dartboard. That couch. Yeah, maybe a coffee table.
Beer fridge.
For sure, a beer fridge. Yeah, you gotta have a beer fridge. Maybe a chest cooler down there or something.
Yeah.
Chest freezer.
Little entertainment center with the drawers, and there's porno in the drawers.
Yeah, guaranteed. It's a little weed stash down there.
Oh yeah. It's fucking just like H everywhere.
Unregistered firearms. Used condoms. Used needles.
Use needles, use condoms. All sorts of illegal animals just being bred.
Broken glass everywhere.
This is where also I started to really notice the storytelling. Being like, oh, the military is going to be here and like they're going to help us. And you find out in the next chapter, chapter 5, we've got hostiles that the military is not there to help you. They're there to clean up the evidence of what's happened. This is a Black
Ops cleanup operation, yeah. For God's sake, open the silo door. They're coming for us. It's our only way out.
This is also where things got very confusing for me. So I'll just read this. Yeah. Reaching the high security storage facility at Sector D, Gordon learns that the way out is through the Silo D door, but to open it, he must round the facility to the Silo door's control room. Passing through the storage area and avoiding the sentry turrets, Gordon witnesses soldiers killing scientists on sight. It's on sight if I see a fucking scientist. The soldiers, known as
a white coat,
known as the Hazardous Environment Combat Unit, were coming not on a rescue mission, but on a total cover-up mission. As such, they are not just killing aliens, but also targeting everyone associated with the resonance cascade in order to contain the incident. When he eventually reaches the surface, Gordon finds the facility under total control of the HECU and in the middle of an artillery bombardment. Taking cover, he is forced back into the underground complex, finding his way into the Silo door's control room, where a scientist informs him that if anyone can end this catastrophe, it is the science team in the Sector F Lambda complex.
Lambda, baby.
Located at the opposite end of the facility, but to get there, Gordon must find the old, decommissioned rail system beyond the Silo complex.
Beyond the Silo.
Now, if I'm not wrong, this is where, like, there's, like, the blast doors. You have to like open, there's like a thing, but sometimes they close and you can't go back and like you're like tripping off turrets.
And sometimes you can open the blast doors, sometimes you can't open the blast doors.
I just like fudged my way through this part, but I was like, wait, am I? And sometimes I'd wind up back at the start. I'd be like, did I fuck this up?
This chapter and the next chapter just kind of fumbled my way through them. You know what I mean? Like, because the next chapter is when you're on the old tram system.
Well, that's in a few. Isn't that on a rail?
No, I thought that was Blast Pit.
Blast Pit, I thought, is where you have to fight the giant
tentacle monster. Yes. You're making your way to the old tram system, though. So 2 more chapters, sorry.
Yeah.
2 chapters away. Yes. Because then you have to power up the, okay. My bad.
Yeah.
Got ahead of myself.
But this is like, I found this to be pretty fucking confusing. And it was just, but also it's the kind of thing where I go, I think through my own intuition, I can get through this.
Yeah.
But it was one of several parts of the game where I go, if you asked me like what I'm doing,
no concept.
I'm going forward and pressing buttons until I get to a new place. Yeah. And then I'd just be like, oh, I made it. I don't know how or why.
Somehow I've advanced.
Because sometimes I feel like I did the same loop. And it was just it was just better the last time.
A lot of the a lot of these little areas look very similar. You know what I mean? In this opening section. None of them are like literally exactly the same, but you're like, is this the same spot I was just in? You're like, you can't quite tell. And sometimes, you have just been there. And other times, like you said, you're like, oh, I made it out this time. Why? Okay, whatever. I'm just going to keep going. I'm not going to fucking, you know what I mean? Like, worry about it too much. But also, Gordon would kind of be, you know what I mean? In this section, it's like, this is the most chaotic section for Gordon in the game when you think about it. He just got teleported to a different world, came back, thinks he's about to get saved, and instead they're murdering everybody.
Yeah.
And they're hunting, like, him specifically. They're hunting people involved with the resonance cascade, like, specifically.
Yes. I loved the combat against the soldiers. I think it's so cool.
Oh, yeah.
Their AI is so good. That like they move. If you think you're going to be in cover for a minute, they're going to grenade you.
Yep. They will not let you rest for too long. You can't just like hide and hope that, you know what I mean, like they're going to come to you so that you can figure out what to do. Like they're going to blow you up.
I think all the enemy AI in this is really good. And I think all the guns feel and sound great. I love combat in this game. And one of my biggest complaints about Black Mesa was it just didn't feel tight in the same way.
I remember when I first played through it, it didn't. I don't know what I'm trying to think of something to compare it to, but it was just like looser. and it didn't. I don't know. It felt sloppier somehow, even though it was like technically supposed to be an upgrade. It didn't feel as tight.
No, and this is definitely more of an old school kind of like I feel the Quake influence even or something. There's a little bit of like an arena shooter kind of vibe to some of these battles. Like one of the scenes where you first see the soldiers and there's all these like stairwells and shit. And
yes, there's the multiple. Yep.
it's like there's several arenas like that where you are kind of like in these big places and there's ramps and things you can jump on and explosives, and it's just like it's a cool little arena. And like I think that's something that like, did you play Doom 2016?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, similar, very similar. You're just all in these like arenas, but it's like
each level is just a different arena that you're in.
Yeah,
which is what Quake is. Yeah,
close off the combat and you're just going through, and it's like it's fucking.
That's like anytime you came
really well in these
across
games.
like the Black Ops soldiers specifically, like when you're around all the storage containers and stuff like that, like the shipping containers.
Yeah,
that was cool as hell. Those were very arena style combat.
Yeah, with the ladies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The femme fatales.
Which is so weird. We did a video a couple years ago about horny video game ads. And do you remember the weird horny Half-Life ad that had like her on it?
Yeah.
I was like, is that character even in the game? I think you encounter them twice and there's like 6 of them total in the whole game.
Maybe, yeah. Yeah. They're like, they don't play a big role in the game. And you don't really see them for that long ever because they move so fucking quick.
Yeah. And they backflip constantly. Like it's kind of like one of the most absurd characters in the game where everything else is pretty grounded in this story, and then it's like, oh, also there's like basically ninjas.
Also Catwoman comes in and there's like 8 Catwomen.
Yeah.
And they're all gonna fuck you up.
And they are all like absurd gymnasts. You can just do like freestanding backflip cartwheels.
They can go from kneeling on one knee to a back handspring in one fluid motion. It's impressive as hell.
Yeah. Whatever. So this is like kind of like where I was also starting to realize like, oh, you're always having your, the carrot in front of you is constantly like dragged away, and you're like, no, that's you thought you reached something that matters.
Yeah.
Actually, got to go somewhere else now. And your goal is changing. It's like it was get to the surface. Now it's like get to Lambda and also watch out.
Yeah.
Because they're now, like it was in chapter, I think 4 where the Vortigaunts first show up.
Yes.
And you saw a couple other enemy types, but by this point,
I think
like
just the little dogs that do like
and the head crabs. Oh, and the bugs too, like the like baby head crabs.
Oh yes,
that you
yes,
can kind
yes.
of step on and squash
them. Yeah,
that's such a great little detail. Yeah, but by now you're seeing like the majority of the enemies in the game, and it is like it's interesting that they are able to pull this thing off, where it's like. In a lot of games, it would be like, oh, there's head crabs at the beginning. And then, oh, the Vortigaunts are like, the first like guys that will shoot at you, but then the military guys are stronger.
Right.
And then there's going to be like bulked up military and like bulked up aliens.
Yeah.
And you like, oh, maybe you'll see a head crab every now and then, but like, there's the enemies don't like level up with you. You know what I mean? Whereas like some games, it's like, oh, later levels, you have harder enemies.
Yeah.
Whereas like in this game, it's like, they do a pretty good job of, I mean, obviously, there's some enemies at the very end.
They do introduce like, I think there's really only like 2. There's the floating boss babies. There's the mini boss babies, and then there's the
giant thing.
There's the giant thing, but then there's the big fuckers that shoot the homing insects at you. And I think those are the only 2, because you only see the giant thing like once.
Yeah, once or twice.
Yeah, I
think you fight 1 on Earth and then 2 in Zen.
Yes, I believe so. Yeah. And then there's the fucking big guys with the homing missiles. Those guys, they were introduced like probably like halfway through the game.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the boss babies are right towards the end.
Yeah.
But even then you're still fighting Vortigaunts through the whole thing. You're still fighting the head crabs through the whole thing. They're still all
it's always like a significant thing to like when you see head crabs, like You can get taken out by a head crab even late in the game.
And it fucking sucks.
You know, it
like
does.
If you don't, if you fuck up your weapon switching like I did all the time, and you don't switch to the crowbar, and then you accidentally you throw a grenade at your feet instead of switching to the crowbar, and then you switch to the rocket, and then you shoot the wall. One of my biggest complaints that I think you might be about to say. Go ahead. You go ahead.
So, not always, but sometimes you pick up a weapon and it auto equips that weapon.
Yes.
And the biggest complaint for me that I forgot about until you said this, maybe this is the same thing. I'm clicking the fire button because I'm cracking open boxes with my crowbar.
Smashing
Smash. Equip grenade, boom, or equip mines, boom.
Equip rocket launcher.
Yeah.
Boom. Yeah.
And it's like, come on.
Because then also you just pick that thing up and then you immediately waste some of the ammo too.
Yeah.
Like, and it would happen when like, even if I get maybe when it's like the first time you encounter that weapon. But say I ran out of grenades or I ran out of ammo from a rocket launcher and then I found new ammo. Sometimes it would just be like, you know what I mean? Rocket. And I'm like, no, I'm not.
I think it was when you were entirely out of that type of ammo.
Yeah.
It would auto swap, but that doesn't make any sense to me.
Doesn't make
really.
any sense to me either. No.
And I would prefer. I think that even in Max Payne you can turn off auto swap like on pickup.
Yeah.
And that'd be one thing I would want to turn off in Half-Life. And there's likely a mod for it.
I'm sure.
It's probably a command line thing.
Sucks though. Definitely fucked me up more than once.
Yeah, my only other big complaint about the game is just like how awkward the platforming can be. And like there were some parts ago, I just fell off the same thing 6 times in a row, and it just fucking sucks. And I'm just quick saving, and it kind of sucks. But also, it doesn't suck enough to really make me not like the game. It's just like the game.
It sucked enough for me to just like get frustrated in a couple sections. But I don't think it took away from.
But I think this is the kind of stuff where I go, this is why this game needs a remake. I go, well, I don't know.
Yeah.
Sometimes a game just has something that sucks a little bit. Pretty much all games do.
Yeah. I don't know if they'd really. I mean, the platforming would still be. If they were to remake Half-Life,
they did
still have to.
Like Mesa.
Well, yeah. But Valve didn't. You know what
Valve
I mean?
won't.
No.
Please don't.
No. But if they were to, you'd still have to keep platforming sections, and like, I don't know, it'd maybe be a little bit better, but it's like some of that stuff is just because you're like on a thing with no rails and your character moves so fucking fast, you know what I mean?
You move really fucking fast to the point where like I think you can toggle run on and off.
You have to hold a button to walk slowly.
Right, that's what it is.
You have to hold shift to walk slowly.
It should be a toggle.
It should be a toggle for sure. Instead, you're just constantly sprinting, and then you can occasionally decide to walk if you remember to.
Yeah. And sometimes it's really useful to walk.
Yeah, sometimes you have to walk.
Yeah.
Or else you're going to fucking die. or backtrack a shit ton.
This really makes me wonder how they're going to handle platforming in the Max Payne remakes.
Well, that's what I've always been interested in, because that's the worst part of Max Payne.
By far.
Hands down the worst part.
Maybe the only bad part.
Because and the thing is, outside of the literal platforming, that section of the game's great.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Very
what
like,
they're doing,
striking,
very
it's
impactful.
Wild. It's a cool little maze, like the listening mechanic and everything.
Yep, but it fucking sucks.
The imagery.
To do it. You know what I mean?
And also it sucks when you're like doing the things outside, like when you're like at the apartment buildings, you're like, I go through the windows. This might be Max Payne 2 even, but I think it's the first game.
Max Payne 2.
But you're like on the ledges of buildings, you're like jumping around. It's like that shit sucks.
Yeah.
It's so awkward.
It's just bad. I just think it took them a long time to figure that out. Because it's such a common issue in these early, you know what I mean?
Oh, for sure. I mean, even way later into time, it's like for like FPS games with platforming are usually something I go, I can't stand this.
Yeah.
It can be done well. It has been done well. I was surprised Postal 4 did it pretty well when I don't know. That's just one thing that stuck out to me about playing that game.
Jack and Daxter and Ratchet and Clank, Naughty Dog, and I don't think Ratchet and Clank is Naughty Dog. Might be. I don't think so. But they do a good job. They do a good job with the platforming. I mean, that was like Jack and Daxter was very much like an action platformer.
I'm wearing my pot socks.
Hell yeah.
I got these for performing music at a dispensary.
Yeah. And in celebration of 420 tomorrow.
Oh, yeah. We'll be blazing it. Yeah, I don't know, man.
Big blaze.
Will be so high.
Just blaze. I love that fucking song.
So,
freeway got the hood on blast.
We're gonna move on to chapter 6. I feel like there's so many things we could talk about, but they'll come up. They'll come up.
Yeah, for sure.
Blast pit. And we have a quote from a scientist here.
That's what they call my asshole. Fire the rocket engine. Destroy that damned thing before it grows any larger.
Pretty good.
Thank you.
I think.
Yeah, it's all right. I wasn't. It was weaker at the end.
I agree.
They all have the same voice, right? Every scientist sounds like.
I think there's maybe 2 voices.
Yeah,
but that might.
Most of them sound like this, though.
Yes.
Yeah, the classic scientist voice.
With access to the silo D,
the white guys both sound like that. I can't follow through with it.
Gordon's got that silo D. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can tell it's like holding a lot of grain.
It's very smooth.
Gordon
top.
mounts the old tram system to get back to the test to the rocket test labs, a largely sealed off area of Black Mesa, dating back to its earlier days as a missile complex, now being used as a dumping ground for toxic waste from the rest of the facility, where the HECU soldiers have yet to get a good foothold due to the overwhelming amount of aliens and toxic waste in the area.
Really
arriving,
safe, cool place.
Arriving at the rocket test silo, Gordon is warned of the tentacles, which are things that fuck hentai girls.
It's like they'll penetrate you from every angle.
A large alien creature is blocking his way and is instructed to, and it's blocking his way and is instructed. I think
this is a part that occasionally does suck about fan wikis, where even if it is detailed, like there's no editor, you know what I mean? Like,
and he is instructed to fire the rocket engine to kill it before it keeps growing. But to fire the rocket, he must first turn on the oxygen and fuel pumps as well as the power generator, after which Gordon is able to kill it by using the rocket engine to incinerate it. This uncovers a way out through the meters deep dirt tunnel dug by the tentacles, leading Gordon closer to Sector E's materials transport. Another confusing as fuck chapter.
Yes, I remembered this from my first time playing through it. Like when I was about halfway through, I remembered being like, "Oh fuck, this was hard for me last time too." Because it is just, I mean, I died a bunch this time. You can watch it on my playthrough's up on the YouTube. You can see how many times I fucking die.
I died a bunch as well.
Sometimes it's just because I was like sneaking, and then they just decided to attack the spot I was in at random.
It's also some awkward platforming where you gotta jump across like these chasms where like bridges have broken and stuff.
And also even just getting down into the different sections when you're trying to get past the tentacles.
Yeah, so
I had a hard time. What I like that they introduced in Half-Life 2 is you click interact to get onto the ladder.
Yeah, you can like lock onto a ladder.
Yeah, whereas in Half-Life 1, it's like sometimes you'll climb the ladder, but like if you're just touching it with like your left arm, it'll let you climb it, and you can't get actually up onto the next platform because you're hitting the floor effectively.
Yeah, you're like clipped onto the ladder in a weird angle.
And that would happen to me, and then you have to drop back down, then you take like 15 damage for falling down the ladder, and then it's like...
One thing I also liked about Half-Life 2 is there was a couple spots to go, oh, I gotta jump, and I go, oh, I made that jump? They were way more and they designed parts where it's like this would have killed you in Half-Life 1.
In Half-Life 2 also,
Half-Life 2.
Yeah, in Half-Life 2 also it's like I noticed last night while playing it, when you jump it pushes you forward a little bit no matter what. Like when you jump it just goes a little bit, like it moves your momentum forward even if you're not moving at all. So I think it's like they realized and they were like, we'll compensate a little bit.
Yeah. Getting past the tentacle monster was very awkward. I didn't really fully understand it. And what I basically do is throw a grenade and then run.
You could sneak also if you crouched.
I couldn't ever get that to work.
It would work for a section, but then they do start randomly attacking spaces again. So you can just get hit by their like random attacks. You know what I mean? But like they won't directly target you.
I must have just been unlucky because I thought you could sneak past it.
Yeah.
I must have done it successfully because I had the idea in my head. But on my most recent playthrough, I could not. And this just took me so long. I did not really understand, like, okay, I got to get to this thing, and then I got to go to this other pump, and, like, where is this? And, like, what floor am I on? Like, I was backtracking like crazy trying to get through this part.
I'd end up in, like, the same hallway. And be like, oh, fuck. Or I'd like, you had to like unseal those doors. I'd end up sometimes just unsealing and resealing the doors like 3 times in a row.
Oh, yeah,
being
for
like,
sure.
oh, fuck. I don't know where I'm supposed to, or where I am.
And it like takes like 10 seconds. You're like,
yeah. And then it opens and you're like, okay.
Oh, I fucked up. Yep. Okay. Yep. I did fuck up. I also remember being like into the way when you're looking at the tentacle monster, there's like a little viewing window, and you can see that what is it? It's the oxygen, right, and the fuel pump. The power of the generator. You can see like how like there's like there's a console and there's like a light for the oxygen, a light for the fuel pump. When you activate one, it lights up. Mm-hmm. And I was like, even though I don't totally get what the fuck is going on here, they did tell me directly. And then there's like a big sign.
There's a confirmation. Basically. There's something like, to be like, you've turned this on. Yeah, where like the thing lights up and it's...
That's... And in a lot of older FPS games, it'd be like activated a switch. It's like a door has been opened somewhere. Like that, it's like, okay.
They do that in Elden Ring all the time. Where like you'll pull a lever and it's like somewhere a large door opened. And you're like, if you hadn't passed the door, you're like, I don't fucking know where that is in this massive dungeon I've been exploring.
God, I never beat Elden Ring. I really should have.
I never beat it either.
I got so into just like playing it because I just liked how it felt.
Yeah.
I just would sometimes play through the same region and just level up like crazy. The whole thing, getting the tentacle monster dead, just really took me a long time. And then when I finally did, I was like, what the fuck now? I was like, oh, I guess I go in the hole I made.
Yeah.
I was like, can't go in that hole. I'll probably die if I jump down there.
It took me a minute too because that happened, and then I think I even might have re-explored the area again, being like, where do I go? And then I was like, oh, I think I looked down finally, and I was like, I just have to literally jump into this fucking thing.
So, all right, we'll go chapter 7, power up, and we have a dying
security guard. Mister, you can get the power on. That train will take us straight to the surface. I would try it myself, but it's a long way down to the generator room, and there are things in the way.
Trying to reach the surface once more, Gordon's progress is thwarted by a gargantua in the Sector E materials transport.
When I read this, I was like, what the fuck is that? And then I Googled it, and I was like, oh yeah, it is.
What the fuck is a gargantua?
What's orangutan?
Stamachachach? He then learns from a dying security guard that if he restores the generator, he can ride the tram all the way to heaven. Freeman enters the hound-eye-infested subterranean areas and activates the generator, restoring power to Sector E. After activating more switches, he destroys the Gargantua, patrolling the area by turning on the transformers and supplying the rail system with power. It's also possible to kill it with an excessive amount of explosives, which is what I did.
That is what
I didn't know you could electrocute it.
I ended up electrocuting it, I think. But I spent a very long time just wasting a lot of my ammo on it.
Me too. Jumping onto the tram, he is able to continue his way by smashing through the complete barricade, blocking access to the rail system. Now, I believe this is where you start this section by jumping down in the pit, and that's where you get like the magnum.
Yeah, because you land in the water.
If you could fuck up the landing and miss the magnum, though.
Well, yeah, because if you just land in the water and then you keep going and you don't explore that little area, you're not going to get the magnum.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to hop out and you have to I think it's just on a dead guard or something.
It is.
A dead body down there.
Yeah, then it's a spooky spot. There's like very, like nice ambient lighting on the scene. It's and then...
But it's weird too because you're like underground, so like it's weird because like it does just kind of... It almost looks... what's the word I'm looking for? Like alive a little bit. Like there's something kind of like grotesque. It's like clearly just supposed to be cave walls and dirt or whatever, but it almost looks like the lining of the inside of a stomach or something. Or like, I don't know.
Or like like a lady's sugar walls.
Yeah, her sugar walls. Yeah,
Past the velvet rope.
I love to gape. So I can really see in there.
I love 3Gape. 3gape.com is our sponsor for this video. No, I fucked this up 4 or 5 times in a row. Dropping down in the pit. If you don't drop perfectly, you just die.
Yeah, you'll just die. Yeah, you will.
This is one of the more frustrating parts of the game where it's like, really? You're going to make this that awkward?
I don't remember. It must have been something right after this that kept killing me because I remember dropping down into this a few times. You know what I mean? I remember coming back to this section a few times So maybe I drowned or something, or I don't know. But
This part's kind of hard. Again, to the best of my memory, you go down underwater, you have to like swim, find your way out, and then like you come out into this place where there's like barrels going down a river of toxic sludge.
yes, if I recall correctly.
And I went through the whole thing and then wound up back at the beginning, and I was like, what the fuck? It took me a while to figure out where I was actually supposed to go on this whole thing, and it's a pretty cool part. I like this part quite a bit, and I love the exploration, but it was the kind of thing where I go, how the fuck do I do this? And then when I finally got it, I was like, I think I know how I got it.
But I don't know. It was one of many points in the game where you go, I'm not really going to overthink what I just did there. I'm just going to keep pushing forward because it worked out. But it's like you said, you can't just use your own intuition and kind of like, you know what I mean? You can be like, well, this feels right. I'm seeing there's new boxes here. Okay, let's keep moving. You know what I mean?
New box is always a good sign.
New box is a good sign. If you find a health thing on the wall, you're like, I'm going in the right direction. We're set.
One thing I noticed too is they were very pretty like generous with health and ammo pickups, and like it seemed like you were never going to go too far without finding something. Like you may have gotten low on ammo at points, but like if you could just push through, you'd get replenished.
I'd get low on ammo for like a gun or two. You know what I mean? But I'd never be low on ammo for all of my guns. I don't think there was ever a point where I was like, oh shit, I'm almost out of everything. I'd always either be like, well, my pistol's still full, even though my shotgun and my revolver are out.
Yeah.
Or I'd be like, well, I've still got my machine gun. You know what I mean? If my others. So it's like, I feel like I never really, and with the breaking of the boxes, like if you don't just find the little ammo stashes here and there, like just breaking the boxes will like give you stuff.
Yeah.
But just little bits, like smaller amounts, but like enough to sustain you throughout. You know what I mean? So
yeah, and I like my accuracy is like 99 to 100% when I'm firing, so like I never waste a bullet. I pretty much get like single headshots on everybody.
I had auto aim on, and I was still like fucking. Oh fuck!
Did you play with the gamepad?
Huh?
Did you play with the gamepad?
I tried to at first. It was weird. It kind of worked, but then like it would.
It needs to be tweaked a little.
Yeah, after I'd do it for a while, there would start to be a good deal of like input lag, and then things would start like double clicking. It's almost like it got sticky keys after a while, and then I would have to like unplug my. I have to reset my controller and reset the game, and then it would be fine again.
I think controller support was added with the most recent update. Because I tried to play it a couple years ago with a controller and just couldn't get it to work at all.
I had to use like the Steam controller overlay.
Oh, I've never had luck with that.
I had to activate it, and that's what I did because I couldn't get it to work just playing the base game.
Oh, it just worked for me.
Oh, okay. When I activated the overlay, and then I think it's the overlay that didn't work well for me. But either way, I ended up finishing out the game on mouse and keyboard. It just plays better.
Yeah, I mean that's what it's designed for.
Yeah. And the weapon swapping's way easier with, you know what I mean, just being able to hit the number.
For sure. So this gargantuan monster alien Gargantua.
King Gargantua.
He's like fighting with some soldiers, and you're like, oh shit. You gotta like just go around and find a way to turn the electricity back on. But like once I was like, okay, I finally did. I guess I gotta go fight the boss now. Yeah. I just shot the shit out of him.
Yeah. I let him kill the soldiers, and then I would like tried blowing him up for a little while, realized I couldn't, moved on. Or like thought I couldn't because I'd wasted so much fucking ammo. And I was like, all right, might as well move on. And then I think you bring out the tram or whatever before you like kill him.
I think I didn't want to because I was like, I'll fuck up. You know, if he'll like smash me.
Right, like he'll break the tram or something. If
yeah, so I just didn't know. I was like, this must be a way to fail. So I unloaded a ton of
everything
ammo
you had, literally everything you had. Yeah, I'd imagine.
Knowing that I didn't have to, I'm like, God damn, of course I didn't have to. Like anytime I go in this game, I found where I go, that was a little weird. It's like, oh, you just did it like the hard way.
You did it wrong, yeah.
It's like
not even wrong, but like
no, it's just like there's like a hard way and like a smart way. There's always like a smart way in this game. And there's some things I could not figure out. Now there's some points in the game where you do have to take damage no matter what.
Yeah.
And I accept that.
Yeah,
because they always help you out right after.
Yeah, and in this one, it's never more than like 10. It'll be like a little bit of a tiny bit of fall damage,
right?
Or like a tiny electrocution. You know what I mean, or something. You know, it's never anything crazy.
But
you're not like, oh fuck, I'm ruined because of this.
There were definitely times where I was like, I'm fucking this up somehow.
Oh yeah, for sure. And then there's a couple moments where I thought, ooh, maybe I might have just skipped a little bit of stuff. You know what I mean? By doing this early, because I just stacked this shit.
Yeah, for sure.
Like I stacked this shit over here and just hopped up here, even though clearly I'm not supposed to get there until I do this. But I'm like, oh, fuck it.
That can definitely happen, because I there was a few times I backtracked and was like, oh, there's a whole other room of ammo. And then after a while I started going, I guess it doesn't matter, because like all I'm ever going to find is ammo.
Yeah, it's not as though there's like cool Easter eggs, really. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like a secret weapon that's going to change the game drastically.
Yeah, because you went into this one, you found the right break room. You blew up the right ramen cup of noodles.
Yeah. Nothing that esoteric or anything. But like I guess we'll get to this later, but even stuff like the minefields, I was like, am I doing this? Is like a question I had, like, am I doing this in a way that is not going to fuck me?
So I remember something I tried to do that didn't work was throwing the bugs into the minefield. You know, you have the little bug guys you can throw that'll attack.
What I've seen is that works.
Yeah. It didn't
work for me.
No.
I've seen people say it works.
Yeah.
I haven't seen them do it.
It didn't work. In practice, it didn't work for me.
I wound up just throwing mines and explosives. I used my I was like, I probably shouldn't like waste too much of my like the second ammo from my rifle.
Save scummed, and then I would run, and I'd be like, oh, I blew up there. All right, I'll avoid that. You know what I mean? And
that's one way to do it. Yeah, I would try to take out like a cluster of them and be like, okay, there's a safe spot, and you could do it a bunch of ways. You could climb on all the rocks. You can whatever.
Yeah, there was sometimes you could just floor as lava it. You know what I mean, and just like hop around. But there's a couple where you had to risk it.
But that sort of thing where it's kind of like, am I doing this the right way? Like I felt that a lot throughout this whole part where I was like putting the electricity on stuff. I was like, because there was times I had to like cross past the big monster. I was like, am I supposed to walk this close to him?
Right. Yeah. Well, he doesn't notice you at first either.
Yeah.
You have to kind of like startle him or like alert him to you by like attacking him.
I know, which should have been a clue that it's like, it's okay to walk past him.
Because he's just facing the fucking wall.
Yeah.
Paying you no mind.
I guess I didn't really even need to kill him. I could have just said, gotta go.
You can just whoop.
Gotta go right now. Do you remember that commercial for like the poop medicine?
Yes. Yeah. It was for X-Lax, I think.
Oh, was it? Gotta go right now.
Gotta go. Because I used to sing that as a kid. When I had to go to the bathroom.
I've been singing the pull-ups jingle today.
Well, which one's that?
I think it's pull-ups. I'm a big kid.
Yeah, it is.
Now. I was like, is that pull-ups or like Toys R Us?
No, that's pull-ups. I'm a big kid now because it's because I'm not always shitting my pants now.
No, not always.
No. Sometimes it still happens. Sometimes I still do though.
That's the thing. I was because they had, when I was at the store the other day, they had like, I don't know, like Paw Patrol pull-ups. And I go, you guys got these in like a big boy style, like I want like a big boy underwear, but like with the Paw Patrol,
characters. Yeah.
Like you don't have to like pull-ups aren't diapers per se, but they're pretty much.
Yeah.
It's pretty much just marketing diapers to people who are too embarrassed to wear them because they're 4 and they don't,
they're 4 years old.
They don't want to be babies. It's
they don't
very
want to feel
manipulative.
that shame anymore. Yeah.
But I got.
It's clever marketing though.
I wanted with the big boy stuff, but I'm looking for some fun designs. I was saying this to the cashier at Ollie's, and I was getting just a weird look. I was like, "Do you not know what I mean by big boy underwear?" I think she thought I was saying big boy because I'm a big kid now. Maybe she thought I was talking about pull-ups. I was like, "No, I'm pull. They're lying. You're not. You're not really a big kid.
You're not really a big kid.
Big kid underwear is not pull-ups.
It wouldn't fit a big kid. It wouldn't fit me.
No, ultimately though, no, they just had like briefs and like boxer briefs and just like burgundy, red.
So I've started
blue,
doing it's
maroon,
I've
white.
been buying plus size period underwear and just pissing my pants.
Makes sense. Makes a lot of sense. Makes too much sense, actually.
It's working too well, frankly.
Yeah.
I have a horrible rash.
We had to go downstairs and get some fresh drinks and also change our clothes because when making the drinks, the drink machine exploded. We had to.
Matt's cocktail maker blew up.
And so did my asshole. So
Yeah. So after you defeat the Gargantua,
Gargantua.
we get into chapter 8,
Gargantua.
On a Rail. And this is one that I've seen a lot of Half-Life fans kind of complain about.
Yeah. Which I liked. From my experience, I get why someone would be annoyed by it.
I kind of loved it.
I had a lot of fun with it.
But I can see how it might not be as fun to revisit multiple times.
Yeah. If you go back and rewatch my stream, I might be lying when I say I had a lot of fun with it, because I think in the stream I got really frustrated more than a couple times.
Me too.
Because there was one time I got knocked off of the cart while it was going and completely lost the cart for a while.
Yep, that's happened to me.
And then had to like fight, and then I remember at one point being stuck off of the cart with like 10 health, and like you can't touch the rail, you know what I mean? You can't get shot, you can't do anything, and dying over and over again. And it was fun though. It was challenging. It felt like a maze. I don't know. I had fun with it.
There's a quote here that I think could sum up a lot of the experience, and maybe we could hear from, is the scientist in today?
It's the doctor in. There's an old decommissioned rail system somewhere through here beyond the silo complex.
In the test chamber. As Gordon rides the tram into the materials transport section of Black Mesa, he learns from a security guard that he must ride to the high-altitude launch center to launch a satellite, which the Lambda team can use to reverse the effects of the resonance cascade.
Thank Christ.
Freeman also discovers the HECU's true hatred for him, as well as their larger reinforcements. Sandbag bunkers with rapid-fire sniper rifles, mounted machine gun turrets, manual and automated, and even mounted rocket launchers. After going round in circles for a while, Gordon goes up several elevators and at last reaches the surface again near the launch site. He sends the rocket up into orbit and goes back underground.
Mm-hmm. I liked this section overall. I liked the elevator sections too. I loved my favorite part about this section, I think, was that you could really decide which way you wanted to go, kind of pick. I don't know. You could pick how you wanted to go about it, and like in the elevator sections, you could decide if you wanted to just ride the elevator all the way up and battle the guys at the top, or you could hop off on like the first level as the tram keeps going and sneak around and stuff. I don't know. It's cool. I like down a rail. Jesus.
Minnow, I don't know if this is picking up on the mic, but she is very upset right now.
She's rolling around and she's really cute.
Yeah, she's adorable.
Uh-huh.
But, hey, Minnow.
Minnow.
Hey, baby. Oh, God.
Sluggo just hit the hard. Jesus Christ. Oh, now we're fighting.
Oh, God.
All right.
Oh, not near the power cable for the camera.
Okay.
This never happens.
Now she's on the computer.
All right, guys.
Okay. Let's everybody calm down.
Anyway, what I was going to say is it took me a while to get adjusted to how the tram works, where it reminded me of juggling inventory in MDK2.
Yeah.
How like just one, I think it was E, would lock you into it.
Yeah.
And then through like up and down, you increase speed, decrease, and in the center is just neutral.
Yeah, stop.
And then instead of decreasing speed, you're actually reversing the tram.
You can like slow down, and then you reverse.
Yeah, and then you reverse faster. Took me a little while to like feel like I could do that without being like, oh fuck.
Yeah, mine was very much like the first time I tried to like learn how to drive a manual car, where it's like just like okay we're good. Yeah. Okay, fuck it. Okay, we'll slow down. You know what I mean? Like it was a lot of very jerky motions.
I think the first cool minecart I ever experienced was in Donkey Kong Country. I don't know if you've played that game at all.
Not as much as you have, because I'm pretty sure you played through the whole thing on the channel at one point.
Oh, I don't know if I ever finished that run, but Yeah, I've
played through
also,
a chunk of it,
I've
though.
played through it many times in my
Yeah,
life.
I have played it though in my life though. Yeah.
Do you know the minecart level?
Yeah, it's like the best part of the game.
Minecart level in Mario RPG as well. Did you get to that?
Yes, I did. Yes.
A lot of fun. Minecart levels are always a blast. The minecart in Resident Evil 4 and the remake, awesome parts.
Those were fucking cool as hell.
And I loved how the remake kind of like, expanded on that. I felt like rail was...
It felt like a very like arcadey section of Resident Evil 4. The remake especially made it feel more that way.
Yeah.
Because it was much more like you could blow up the whole entire rail car or just shoot it. I don't know. It was cool as hell.
It was sick. And this felt like it was like tapping into that type of energy, but I never got as much of that thrill kind of amusement park ride feeling as I would wanted from this. But there were moments where you're like blazing by and you're just like, you see guys, you're like, you're going. I mean,
it just doesn't allow for as many of those moments as you
2 or 3 maybe
as you would need for it to have that feeling. You know what I mean? It kills the momentum too often.
Yeah,
because you have to hop off and either cross over to get to another spot or open up. You know,
I would have really loved if it just gave a little bit more of that. Maybe at the end, like you unlock a clear path, and I think you do. It's not very much.
Yeah, it would have been nice if more times maybe you lost control of it. And then you just had to deal with it going full speed as like guys are coming at you, and you have to just shoot them as you're passing. And
but either way, that's part of why I like this so much, is because it did feel similar to those sort of minecart levels.
Yes,
and it's something that I think they tried to expand on in the vehicle sections of Half-Life 2.
Oh, for sure. I was gonna say that, but then I was like, nah, I'll save it for the Half-Life 2 discussion.
Well, I mean, we'll probably almost definitely go in depth there, but I like this more than the vehicles in Half-Life 2, I think.
Really?
I don't like the vehicles
I've
very
heard
much.
I've heard that sentiment quite a bit, even when I was streaming it. I had people in the chat being like, least favorite part of the game. Can't wait till you're through this. You know what I mean? Like, this gives me so much anxiety. And I was like, I kind of fucking love it. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the physics of it and how you feel very, like in the airboat especially, how you feel very lofty and floaty and stuff. And when you hit the jumps, I love it. I don't know why.
I'm glad that
I really have fun with it.
You know, everybody's got like something.
I seem to be in the fuck off. I seem to be in the minority on that one.
Yeah.
In the words of Green Day.
Down with the moral majority. The HECU, I call them the Heckus.
Heku.
I'm doing a heckin' soldier over here. I'm not sure if it's right here, but it's got to be around this part where they're like, we got to get this guy. He's killing all our buddies.
Yeah, where you start hearing like more like, get Freeman, take him out. You know what I mean? Find the scientist.
And it's like, what do you think he did? They're like, I don't know, but he's like hurting our guys, so we gotta get him. Like there's you start to see there's like a hierarchy to, like, I mean, even later there's a deeper hierarchy that I think we might not touch on just yet, but
maybe not even in this. It might be more an opposing force that you really get to see. You know what I mean? Like the actual. Oh, you're talking like even beyond just like the military hierarchy.
No, I'm talking about the military hierarchy specifically. Maybe it is an opposing force. You find out like there's soldiers cleaning up some of the soldiers.
Yes,
even because there's like grunts doing the work, and then it's like then these guys are like the final cleaning crew that come in.
I think it's an opposing force. Okay, they learn about it. They might touch on it here, but I don't.
That would make sense for Adrian Shepard to engage in combat with soldiers. Like, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how you'd make that happen otherwise, narratively. Well, either way, it is cool to have these sections where you kind of just like walk up, and then like it's something that Max Payne did really well.
Mm-hmm.
The kind of thing where it's like, if you don't interrupt these guys and you can sneak up, you can get like some pretty cool exposition and kind of like a deeper understanding of what the situation is. Also some fun, just like flavor.
Yeah, I like that. That's something that like it seemed to. It existed a bit more in games in this period, but like I even remember getting into like playing Halo and stuff like that. If you could sneak up on certain enemies, you could hear them like having like alien enemies having conversations about like either you or like just like in general what's going on in the world and stuff. And
is it in an alien language? Is there subtitles or something?
No, you can understand them. They speak like broken English.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And then
I'm gonna avoid a joke. I had a few, but I'm gonna pass. Also dealing with the turrets, I found very annoying. I find turrets annoying in general. I guess it's fine. They're supposed to be annoying.
I didn't really mind like the manned ones. You know what I mean? But except for the Rocket Man turrets. The Rocket Man turrets, Rocket Man. But the manned rocket turrets were annoying as shit. They weren't that bad as far as like they didn't kill me that often, but like just like having to like, okay, wait, go out, dodge, wait, go out, and you can't. There's not really a good angle to get them from, and if you don't have grenades on you or you don't have the fucking grenade launcher, like any ammo left for that, you're kind of screwed.
Yeah.
You just have to hope you can get to them quickly enough.
There's also like, I'm not sure if these are the same guys, but there's like the nested snipers that you can't actually see.
Yeah, I don't know if that's what they were talking about when they talked about the
are.
sandbag automatic snipers, because I was like, I don't even know.
No, there's the little sandbag like.
Oh yeah.
Pyramid things, and they get mounted behind them.
Yep.
But I was really annoyed by the ones that you can't see. I usually had to like hit them with an explosive.
Yeah,
and I don't think you have to. I think there's other ways. Okay.
Well, no, you so the snipers you can just shoot long enough in there and eventually they'll die. But like it's way better to just use the explosive. All right. But yeah, it's much faster and easier. It's kind of like with the Gargantua earlier. You could kill it by just blowing it up and shooting at it. But
the smarter thing to do
is electrocute it, yeah.
Chapter 9 is Apprehension. We got another quote here from the Marine.
Get him!
Hey, not bad.
Okay.
Continuing toward the surface, Gordon encounters a terrifying new aquatic Zen creature. The
Ichthyosaur.
No. Yeah, okay. And acquires a deadly new weapon to fight it.
One of my favorite weapons in Half-Life 2. Not my favorite weapon in this game.
After an underwater battle with that monster, he manages to escape and get back on his way. After battling the Black Ops, another military crew trying to eliminate even the HECU. Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. I guess that is...
Apparently they do touch on it in here.
Freeman is captured by 2 HECU soldiers. Instead of taking him in for questioning, out of spite, they remove all his weapons and drop him in a trash compactor.
Mm-hmm.
Now... Sluggo is really very vocal today.
Mm-hmm. Loud boy.
Come here, baby.
He says no. He's big no today.
Yeah. The aquatic... The aquatic monster alien thing. Mm-hmm. I guess they're not monsters. They're just aliens.
Yeah, they're not monsters. They're, you know what I mean?
To them, maybe we look like monsters.
I'm sure they're very scared of us. Based on how the thing reacts, it was like...
I hated fighting these things.
Yeah, it was... That was dangerous.
I know.
Yeah, they're one of the more frustrating enemies to fight in the game, period. I'd rather would have fought...
Hey! All right.
Mini boss babies.
Don't eat a piece of fuzz. Bye. Bye, guys. Great, I deleted all my notes.
Now I just have to go to the fan wiki.
I agree. I was like, I remember watching your stream, I think, you saying how much you liked the dart gun.
Or the crossbow.
The crossbow, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of like the toy dart gun from Prey.
Oh, yeah. The little, like, Nerf dart gun. Yeah, you can just press buttons with it, and that's it.
For some reason, I, like, equated this weapon with that weapon. Being, like, kind of useless.
Otherwise useless. It's like a sniper.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. So in the first game, I barely used it, because I was like, oh, I guess I'll just save this, because I can only shoot this gun underwater.
Yeah.
Or this is the only gun I can shoot underwater.
Mm-hmm. So you should have it for those scenarios at the very least.
I thought there'd be a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
There's not.
There's maybe 3
maybe
times
in the whole game.
Yeah, you interact with the...
But Half-Life 2, man, yeah. I mean, I was in the... When you're at, like, the prison thing, there's, like, all the guard towers.
Oh, yeah, the prison,
like, taking those
relied
guys
on
out.
that super heavily. I think I killed all the guys in the guard towers before I even got to where they could shoot me.
Yeah, me too.
You know what I mean? Using the crossbow. And
it was great.
In the, there's, like, a warehouse section in Half-Life 2.
Yeah.
Where you have to, like, go up higher and higher in the warehouse, and there's like the higher level enemies. The whole time I was in there, I used that pretty much.
Yeah. Great kind of glow up on that gun.
And very satisfying kills with that too.
Totally.
The way it'll like pin them to the wall, or it just sends them flying and they just ragdoll. Love it. But so I think I was like remembering that when I got it in Half-Life 1, because you can definitely find it in the stream where I'm like, oh, it's my favorite gun from the game. And then I probably use it 4 fucking times for the rest of the game. Oh. The shotgun was also
Getting sloppy today.
You're sloshing that thing around.
I've been drinking since 3 a.m.
You've just been up.
3 p.m. now.
12 straight hours, baby. That's why it was a brand new bottle of whiskey you opened downstairs. I know, and then I just almost inhaled that because I was like chuckling as I took
Goes
the
all in your nose.
We're doing great.
I really liked the section where the soldiers get you and knock you out and drag you away.
Where they're dragging you.
So fucking cool. Mm-hmm. And also, again, another thing that I think Max Payne took from.
I don't know if I remember that.
There's so several points in the game where you kind of get taken by enemies and you lose all your weapons, or you start with no weapons.
Oh yeah.
The bat.
Yeah, I was gonna say the bat when you get tied to the chair. Yep, I'm remembering now. It's been a few years since we played that now. I'm waiting for the fucking remasters to come out.
Well, I've replayed Max Payne at least twice since we discussed it, and 2, and it's like, holy shit, so good. And also Max Payne 2 especially, after playing Alan Wake 2, Alan Wake 2 is like so connected to Max Payne 2 in so many ways.
Well, yeah, it's also the literal costume they're wearing.
Right. But like, there was like, once I like played it again, I was like, wow, they really touched on these themes deeply in this game. And then like, in Alan Wake 2, we're able to really explore those same themes, but with a lot wider palette of like visual tools, but the dream sequences in 2 are crazy. They're cool. Anyway, I think of Max Payne as being like a real landmark title for narrative in video games. And like, I think that it definitely, I could be wrong, but I really get the impression that they borrowed like a bunch of stuff from Half-Life.
Well, I'd imagine they would, you know what I mean? Half-Life was a massive title and like a huge, like you said, a huge landmark like for video games in general.
Yeah.
So I'd imagine most of the things that came out in the years following definitely were inspired by it.
Like games had campaigns and stories and stuff, but not in the just in the more modern sense. It really was established,
at least in this era, like maybe
some
some earlier like point and click stuff, you know what I mean, had more in-depth stories and stuff like that, but that very much, you didn't get anything that like emotional and that serious and that like, like you said, there's depth to it.
Yeah.
It's a real story.
Like outside of some RPGs, which were doing like in-depth stuff way ahead of time, but not marrying that to graphics and gameplay.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there was very
the
much
kind of merging of all those things was kind of like, what I think was coming together here. And there's just several scenes throughout this game there. I was like, oh, I feel like there's a very similar scene in Max Payne. And yes, one of the cats has shoved a toy under the door, and they are.
Sorry, it's cute.
Play with me.
You can quite see it on camera, but it's just out of frame.
Good part. And then what do? You
escape the
trash compactor.
Yeah, you try to escape the trash compactor. This part I had to watch the scene where they drag you 3 times because fucking it kept taking to the part where you black out and they drop you in the trash compactor, and then you're supposed to wake back up. I don't know what happened with my game. I just didn't wake up 2 times in a row. Whereas like I would get dragged in, it would go black. And then I remember the first time, I think I sat there for like 2 full minutes on the stream just being like, am I supposed to do something? And it was just a black screen. And I could hear the sounds, my health and stuff pop back up, you know what I mean? And I could hear sounds when I clicked stuff, but it was just black screen.
Did you get crunched?
No, didn't get crunched at any point. Nothing happened. It would just stay there on the black screen.
I didn't really even understand that I was in a trash compactor until after it was like the scene was almost done. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, that's kind of the same. Where it was like until it was really like life or death, like you got to get out of here now. I was kind of like, what's happening down here? Because
Yeah.
again, it's like the graphical limitations, you know what I mean? It's hard to tell when the walls are, you're like, was I not aware of how thin this room was when I came in? Like, was I just not paying attention when I got here?
Chapter 10 is Residue Processing. No quote on this chapter. After escaping from the trash
Lame.
compactor and getting back to the surface, Gordon stumbles toward a mostly abandoned part of the facility, meant for processing and disposing of waste and hazardous materials. Dodging and jumping through antiquated compaction machines, large vats of waste, and slipping through furnaces, as well as riding on gravity-defying conveyor belts, Freeman leaves this part of the facility.
This was a very, like, visually cool section of the game. But again, like, platforming in these games,
A platforming maze, kind of.
at times, very frustrating.
Felt similar to the fucked up part of the spaceship in MDK2.
Oh, yes.
where I think it's the doctor.
Yeah, it's when you're the doctor, because first you have to fix the circuit or whatever.
Yes,
and then
fix
you have
the
to,
leak.
Yep, and fuck that whole section.
Or you don't fix the leak. You fix the electrical. Well, you fix the leak and then
You fix the electrical.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Either way, that whole section with the doctor in MDK2, worse than this for sure. This was better. Still pretty frustrating. The amount of times that I like fell off the conveyor belt and had to like start over the whole thing, or like start halfway back, or took the wrong. I did like the maze aspect. I like mazes. Don't like just slipping and falling on accident all the time.
No, and I remember being like, sometimes you'd like go through and like jump off midway through another section and then come out a door and just be back where you started. You're like, oh, all right, well, it was just another sort of like false path.
Yes, which like, there's some of those things where I'm like, I think those trial and error things, it's like, I akin it to like the forced damage where you have to take a little bit of damage. Or like, you will die the first time you play this section no matter what. You know what I mean? Stuff like that where it's like, even though this is a long-ass game, I think a lot of people were still in that mindset of we have to do whatever we can to like increase the playability of this game and increase the playtime of this. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I think they were still doing that a little bit.
Yeah. Pretty cool part still, and it reminded me a lot of Portal.
Oh, for sure, yeah. This is a very Portal-esque section.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And actually just various parts of Half-Life 1 and 2, I go, oh, okay, I can really see how they looked to Half-Life for direction on the Portal stuff. Whereas, like, although I had played a ton of Half-Life and had never played Portal, it had been so long since I played through certain parts of Half-Life, because I kind of would, like, dip out maybe halfway through the game. Maybe around on a rail.
It's like I was saying the other day, I think I've played Half-Life 2 and Half-Life 2 Episode 1 4 times all the way through, and Half-Life 2 Episode 2 maybe twice. For I don't know why. You know what I mean? But sometimes I just don't make it all the way through. But definitely where in Half-Life 2, especially when you're in like the Citadel, several parts of that reminded me of Portal. Where you're like, oh, I have to use my momentum, or I have to plan out this, I have to figure out this little puzzle and stuff like that, using the gravity gun rather than the portal gun. But cool as hell. I'm gonna cough.
Chapter 11, Questionable Ethics. Got a little quote from Barney here.
The only way out would be to find someone with scanner access who can get open the front door. Who can open the front door. I threw a word in there.
Be a little slower. He's always a little dopey. You know what I mean?
The only way out would be to find someone with scanner access who can open the front door.
It kind of like seems like he's always ready for a lunch break or something. He always seems a little.
Yeah, I remember reading through the I think the description.
Oh, the Half-Life erotic fan fiction.
Yeah,
archive.
the fanfic archive. He's just a co-ed still. He's a college co-ed. No, Barry's still in college though, or Barry's working through college, I believe, is what it says about him.
Must be night school.
Yeah,
he must be a loser.
Well, because then it made me think. I'm like, okay, so Gordon's. Well, then in my mind, I'm like, well, Gordon's 27 in this game, right? And if you think about it, when you see everybody in Half-Life 2, Klein's older. Alex is obviously, you know what I mean, gone from a child to like
20 years though, right?
20 years, yeah. So if Barry only looks like he's maybe in his 40, maybe 40. You know what I mean? He looks pretty young still in Half-Life 2.
He looks old as hell in Half-Life 1.
Yeah, I know, but then in Half-Life 2, he doesn't. And it says he's in college. So I'm like, maybe in Half-Life 1, Barry's only like 20.
I don't know.
You know what I mean?
They were probably smoking harsher cigarettes back then.
Oh, for sure, yeah. Unfiltered Lucky Strikes. Just ripping the filters off Pall Malls.
Gordon eventually winds up in a secret part of the facility where he discovers that scientists have been collecting specimens from Zen since long before the incident occurred.
Whoa.
Inside, Freeman continues to rearm himself to rejoin the battle against the HECU. He also meets the alien military units, the alien grunts, and finds one of the most powerful weapons in the facility, the Tau cannon. Soon, he heads outside to search for the Lambda complex.
Yes. Didn't end up using the Tau cannon as much as I wanted to because you don't find a ton of ammo for it.
Is this the one that sends out, like, energy smoke rings, kind of, and, like, just, like, zaps?
And then things
like,
eventually
vaporize?
just blow up. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's that thing.
I used it on the grunts a few times. I was like, otherwise, I'm going to be out of ammo.
Yeah.
You know, and they do fuck you up quick.
Yeah, the guys who are like with the two arms are like, they're shooting the little rockets at you. Yeah. Those guys were easily like, that's what I use it on the most because you could kill them so fast with that.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's like you got to use 2 grenades and a fucking like revolver shot or 2. Or I think it's like 4 revolver shots.
Yeah.
Which is like, I don't have that kind of ammo.
Is this the area where, like, I guess it must be. You like find like yeah, you just find different specimens and stuff. Like they have them in like little chambers and
yeah, and they have them on like there's a few that are in like a little like you can like open the thing and they're further down and then you can shoot at them or whatever with the thing.
Yeah.
Like the little
fucked up
train. Like they're the weapons testing facilities kind of that you find. Yeah. That's what it seems like. Yeah, really. That's why, I mean, thus the chapter name, fucking Questionable Ethics, where it makes you question even more and more what it is that you guys have actually been doing here, you know? Because you don't know. You're a relatively, like, low security access level, you know what I mean? Everywhere you go throughout the game, you've got to find another scientist or a security guard to let you through the next, like, eye scanner, you know what I mean, or whatever.
Yeah, and I do remember someone in the game be like, "Oh, well, our public's gonna find out what we've been doing here," you know, like here on Little St. James,
here in Unit 730 or 731.
Chapter 12, Surface Tension. We have the scientist saying something here.
What was the other scientist voice? Because there's the one where he sounds like this. And then there was another scientist voice, I thought.
I feel like there's one that's a little more concerned. You know what I mean?
More concerned. No.
Isn't he?
I think, I can't remember.
It's hard to tell them apart.
Yeah, that's the main thing. Well, I'll let you out, but I'm warning you, it's hell out there. It's completely under military control. You'll have to sneak and fight your way from one end to the other. That's okay.
That's all right.
Yeah.
Gordon again reaches the surface, which is now a war zone.
Call of Duty war zone.
Punisher war zone. The Vortigunts, along with the alien Gunts and the Gargantugunts, they've now begun making determined attacks against the Marines, and the tide of the battle is beginning to turn in favor of the aliens. The Marines call in reinforcements, but it is not enough. Gordon must scale cliffs and navigate the bombed-out buildings while avoiding both sides. Many skirmishes are seen between the Heku and the Zen forces. Finally, Gordon reaches relative safety underground.
Mm-hmm. He meets his safe relatives underground, the ones that aren't gonna.
Now, I think we skipped a part.
Did we?
That.
Are you sure we're just not there yet?
Well, no. I mean, I think we skipped a part that I wanted to mention.
Oh, okay.
Where do you fight the helicopter?
Is it coming up, maybe?
I don't see it in the notes.
It must have been during that first scene when you get above ground.
Where you come out of the pipe?
Where you come out of the... No, that's this part right here. This is when you come out of the pipe. Right?
I think you also come out of the pipe and...
Well, this is when you come out of the pipe and you're on the cliffside when the music plays.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. Last time we just mentioned that because we were talking about the music.
Oh, right. Mm-hmm. Okay.
We hadn't gotten there yet.
Well... It took me a while to figure out how to do this, and I kind of hate that they brought this back into being like a pretty regular mechanic in Half-Life 2.
Oh, yeah, I know. You hate the gunships. Yeah, you're not a fan at all.
I don't feel like I really understand how to shoot them down. It's like sometimes my missiles go wildly off target, and sometimes it seems like there's a little autocorrect.
Yeah, I mean, they're guided. You know what I mean? To
They
a degree.
are.
Yeah.
I
You guide
and-
them.
Oh.
Wherever you're looking at is where your missile goes.
Well, I know after it's launched, though.
Yeah. You control it actively while it's in the air.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. That's how in Half-Life 2, the gunships will shoot down your missile. So you have to, like, guide it around it. You know what I mean? Wherever your laser is on the screen, that's where the missile's going to
No, I
head
had
towards.
no idea.
Oh, that's why you don't like them.
One of the NPCs must have said something about that.
Yeah,
right?
for sure they do. Yeah, when you first get it in like the little town in Half-Life 2.
I don't.
In Half-Life 1, I'm not sure if they tell you that directly. In Half-Life 2, they tell you directly.
that explains.
Like, you gotta
why
guide it around the
seems
you gotta guide it around the anti-missile defense, Gordon. Glad to see you again, Gordon.
Well, anyway, this part rips. Fucking love it.
Oh,
it
yeah.
looks so cool. Sounds awesome.
The music here is great. It's one of the few times where I think because you have to go right into the fight, that the music actually fits in the time, you know what I mean? But this was so much fun trying to just like, and this is such a stressful moment too when you're on like the cliffside trying to just hop down as far as you need to, you know what I mean? Kill the guy, then you're getting shot at from somewhere else, and you're like, I have to get a vantage point on this guy without fucking voice crack, without walking off the edge while I'm trying to do that.
Yeah, and then every now and then it's just like, there's 4 head crabs.
And then every now and then you're like, oh, I can almost get that guy, and then you're like, oh, I'm falling. I'm falling into my death.
I sometimes go, man, if there was like a lean, I would have taken advantage of it on parts like this. I usually don't use the leans.
And hardly any game do I use lean.
Yeah, but there's a few times I go, ooh, can I lean?
All right, no.
No. So instead, I opted to just sip some lean.
Yeah. And then opted instead to just spend $200 on a solo cup's worth of liquid.
Yeah. It's also like coming up on infighting between the enemies, and I guess it's not really infighting. I guess it would be infighting.
It is. It's kind of like there's it's like
because they're both your enemies.
I don't mean to bring up Halo again, but it's another game where you're seeing a military force fight an alien force. In Halo 2, I believe, is when the aliens kind of separate into 2 factions within themselves. And so there's like the one more like, there's the more like Knights Templar kind of group. It's very religious and very much like, I can't think of the word right now. And then there's just the regular people, you know what I mean? The normal secular group. And there's multiple points in the game where it's like you walk into a room and there's already a battle happening. And you're like, I could get involved in this, or I can just let it play out.
Well, that's the thing. I didn't expect it in this game to have it be the kind of thing where, these battles will play out.
Yeah, they will play out until everyone of one side is dead.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There maybe will be like, usually a lot of time it was like 1 or 2 grunts left in the room, you know what I mean? But a lot of the time you could let it play out until there was like maybe 1 guy left.
Yeah. And I didn't like once or twice. And then I was like, I'm getting fucked up. So I was like, let me like see if I can get a better vantage point. And I was like, just kind of scaling areas, kind of looking around. I was like, oh, wait a minute. Like they're just.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. I kind of thought it was like scripted in such a way where like maybe they'll like, like replenish the enemies, and
they'll keep
you kind of have to get
soldiers
into the skirmish, but you don't. It's cool.
No, you do not at all. You can completely avoid it if you want to. It seems like in some of the sections. I often didn't though.
No, I often didn't. But so once or twice I did, and I was always impressed by how much it really.
I'd usually see whichever side was losing, and then I'd start picking off the other side, like 1 or 2 of them.
Yeah,
so maybe
totally.
There'd be none left by the time that was like.
Chapter 13 brings us to Forget About Freeman.
Forgot about Dre. Forget about Freeman. We're abandoning the base. If you have any last bomb targets, mark them on the tactical map. Otherwise, get the hell out of there. Get the hell out of there.
It was me to Sluggo 20 minutes ago. The HECU determines that they are fighting a battle they cannot win against the Zen aliens. It's because they're so in the moment being such Zen aliens that you can't really beat them.
I fucking knew that's where you were going.
With this, as well as having continually failed to neutralize Freeman, they abandon their mission and begin to evacuate the facility, calling in airstrikes and heavy artillery to cover their retreat. Gordon enters an underground storage garage to avoid the bombardments and eventually fights his way through scores of aliens and several groups of the decimated Heko forces before reaching the Lambda complex. I want to.
It's hard. I know you got it.
One company I want to talk about today is Black Mesa and why they're successful. I'm doing Company Man.
Oh, yes. Company Man, who has like one of the most hype intro songs for a video. And then he's just like, hello and welcome back. Today, we're going to be talking about what happened to Ames.
One reason why I think Black Mesa was successful was their questionable ethics. Now, this might be...
Something else you can't avoid when talking about Black Mesa is aperture sciences.
Now, call me crazy, but I think... All right. Anyway.
Company Man, you're doing a good job. You're just really boring. You do great research, though, frankly.
I really had a lot of fun with the missile launch part of this, where you have to like, well, you're getting chased by one of the gargantuan things, and I was getting all sorts of fucked up all through this. When I got to that part, I was like, oh shit. And like, it's not super intuitive, like where a thing is going to land. Like it makes sense enough, but it's like, it's wild how like you can be like, this is where it's going to go. And you're like, wow, I'm way more off than I thought I was going to be.
100%. Where like you think you've got it, and then there's no, absolutely.
But I was able to knock out the alien, the big alien with the missile launch.
Oh, the Gargantua?
Yeah.
I don't remember if I did.
He like crashes through a wall. Eventually he like chases you down. And and then, but yeah, you knock
I remember
over...
primarily just running from him. And like trying to avoid him for the most part. I might have killed him. I'm a little hazy on this section of the game, I'll be honest.
No, I'll check the tapes.
Which I gotta send some of them to you still.
Hey, go for it.
Do you have a high capacity thumb drive? More than 30 gigs?
Possibly.
Okay. If I could maybe borrow it, that'd be cool. A couple of the video files I can't send on Sendbig.
Wow.
Very Even though they're in the MP4 format and everything. I don't know. Who knows?
Damn. Knocking over like the water tower and breaking the walls and stuff, like this was just a cool use of destructible environments and like a non-traditional kind of gameplay mechanic with the fucking missile drop thing. Just a fucking sick part.
I also like, I don't know if you do any of it yet, but the couple of times where you get to get behind like one of the rocket turrets or like the tank turret, they're like, and you can shoot open like the big garage doors and stuff like that. I thought that was cool.
Those are always, I just appreciate that kind of stuff in games. I go, you know, and I found a lot of times, like in certain games, you'll do that and they're like, okay, get ready for an enemy wave because you're doing a turret section. This isn't like that. It's like you can sometimes use one if you want. There may be one or two turret section parts that might even be an opposing force, actually.
The one that you're thinking of that I was thinking of too is an opposing force where you blow open the wall and then the grunts keep coming out. And you just keep shooting them one by one.
Yeah, like that.
But that was easy as hell too.
Right, but you know, I don't know if like you remember like you know, in a lot of mid 2000s games that I've played recent, you know, I know like
exactly what you're talking about.
Because I don't want to sound like a liar. I wasn't playing the games at the time, but I went back and I've been playing a lot of games. Turret sections, like
just and it's like just horde mode for a second. Where it's like, okay, you got the turret, now hold up here, you know what I mean, and take them all out. And it's like fucking okay.
Some of my favorite turrets, Call of Duty 1, like like when you're defending that bridge and stuff, and I don't know, there's
really Call of Duty 1 was such a good. I think really those first 4 Call of Duties were such great games.
We gotta do Call of Duty 2.
We have to. Big Red 1, baby. Big Red 1.
I couldn't believe how much, like for something that is like so indicative of like anti like gamer behavior, like where it's like, oh yeah, like great studios get sent to the Call of Duty mines. Like it's like, cool, you made all these great games. Be a support studio for Call of Duty now for the rest of your lives. And like all like the microtransactions, and like chopping the campaigns down to the point where they hardly exist.
Not to mention just like the rampant sexual harassment and sexual abuse, like allegations from within Activision Blizzard and everything. And
and I mean, no offense to anyone. I'm saying I love a Call of Duty game.
Yeah.
Most assholes I know are big Call of Duty guys.
That's
like locally.
Fact, That's just a fact.
Yeah. It's like, wow, that guy plays Call of Duty too, you know?
You're like, oh, I guess that checks
Warzone.
Well, yeah, it's weird. It's like with our generation, you know what I mean, and people in like our general age group within like 10 years around either one of us, you know what I mean? Like we're becoming adults who play video games, all of us, and it is kind of like you're separated into like two groups. It's kind of like it's like the people who like, why are you listening to Rage Against the Machine? Do you really like Tom Morello and just like the wow 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 wow, or do you like the, you know what I mean, the Zach De La Rocha, you know what I mean, anti-government, you know?
Yeah. And it's just funny that like the first game, and that's the only one I've really played, it's just like killer game.
Just an all-around great game.
I just wouldn't expect it, you know?
The second game too, great. Third game, I don't remember the campaign as much, but the multiplayer was pretty cool. You could play with up to 4 people on one console, you know what I mean? It was fucking sick. Really cool co-op. Fourth game, great. First Modern Warfare game ever. Really fun, really great. All started going downhill after that.
Yeah.
Even the second Modern Warfare is like, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 is like Fallout 4. Where you're like, this is still a pretty good, damn good game. You know what I mean? But you're clearly stepping away from what you were doing.
Did you, man, what? Oh, no, what am I thinking? Oh, the other cool turret stuff, Spec Ops The Line.
Oh, yeah, those are cool. The Spec Ops The Line, that's a game I might replay. That's a great game.
I could be wrong. I feel like I read something about that game is no longer available to buy.
What?
I think it's been removed from storefronts.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, fuck, we fucking got in apparently at the right time. Is it a content thing? Or is it a licensing issue?
I think it was due to the music. I don't think they actually, seemingly without explanation. The license is referenced, likely have to do with game's music. During this line's menu, Jimi Hendrix's rendition of Star Spangled Banner can be heard.
And the Hendrix estate really cracked down on all that stuff.
The game's soundtrack includes Martha and the Vandellas, Nowhere to Run. The game has, we talked about this, but the game has a crazy soundtrack of like psychedelic rock and like soul and stuff.
Yeah,
it's like,
it's very like Vietnam era, you know what I mean? It was cool.
Yeah.
That sucks. I guess that checks out though.
But
because I remember
Pirate the Game.
Yeah, I remember fucking. Did you ever see the Andre 3000 Hendrix biopic?
No.
Don't. It was bad. It was really.
I've also never heard a Hendrix song. Really, like I've been around when it was on, but I've never like.
Yeah.
I've never heard one from start to finish as an active listener.
That's weird. That's weird to hear from you.
Not for any reason.
Surprising.
It's just a thing I haven't gotten around
I guess
to.
surprising to hear from you.
Did not avoid. I don't think it sucks or anything. I think because I hear stuff, I go, that's pretty cool. But I remember I had a friend who like had some of his CDs. I go, oh, but would I be into that? He goes, it's not. It's probably not as interesting as you think it might be.
No, I agree with that. You know what I mean? I don't think.
And it kind of like I went, well, if I get to it, I do, and if I don't, whatever.
Yeah, for sure. It's nothing like Hendrix is great. You know what I mean? There's like this later album that he has that's like more of like a experimental jazz kind of thing that he kind of got into right before he died. That one's pretty interesting. You know what I mean? That one's fun. It's like more of like a rock jazz fusion type thing. That's interesting. But the Hendrix estate does not give out the rights to his music. Hardly ever, really. And for the Andre 3000 biopic they were doing, they at first when they started making the movie and they were in production, they were like, we'll give you the rights to it. Everything will be fine. You can use them. They saw like whatever, you know what I mean, the first version or whatever, and they were like, no, you can't use any of our music. So they had to reshoot a bunch of sections of the movie, and the only sections with any music in it are him playing like Hound Dog on guitar, you know what I mean, and like stupid shit like that. Nothing he ever actually performed. It's all just like public domain stuff, and it's fucking awful. It's bad.
Man,
really takes away from the whole thing.
A lot of those movies are whack.
Yeah, people freaked out over the Queen one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like, as somebody who was in high school, I was a huge Queen fan.
Me too.
I was big into like...
I would say even still. But
yeah, for sure.
But that's when I first got into them, was in high school. And I was just lamenting last night. I had almost every Queen LP, and I sold them all. Because I was just like, I've listened to these more than I ever could in the rest of my life. And I didn't know that like...
I still have The Game on vinyl, I'm pretty sure.
It's a good one. Mm-hmm. I didn't think that like 10, 15 years later I'd still be like as into Queen as I ever was.
They're just good. Well, that's the thing, is they're just good. They're like one of those bands that like, because they have such a wide range of music, it's hard to be like, well, this is kind of like not really what the times they were like. I don't know. I kind of got sick of this. They cover
so much stuff like the early like proto metal stuff. They even have like one of the first like proto thrash metal songs ever recorded.
Which one's that?
Stone Cold Crazy.
I gotta re-listen to some of that stuff.
It sounds just. I think Metallica covered it later, but it sounds like 80s thrash.
Yeah.
Way before people were playing thrash.
Oh yeah, they're definitely like what hair metal inspired hair metal in a lot of ways. I think with some of the things they did, but no, with that I knew a lot about Queen going into that movie, and I knew the timeline of Queen, you know what I mean, and stuff like that. And for them, in all those biopics, they change stuff and they make it so that it just makes it into a story that people want to see. Whereas like Freddie Mercury didn't have AIDS when they played Live Aid. Maybe he did, but he didn't. But he didn't know yet.
It's like Live AIDS. I mean?
Yeah, I know, but they're like it's
he's alive
like,
with AIDS.
He was dying when he got there, and like it took everything in him to just play this one final show. And I'm like, no, they had a career after Live Aid. Like, Live Aid is kind of like what launched them to a degree because people got to see them. What an incredible show they put on, and then their popularity ballooned after that. You know what I mean? Not that they weren't already popular, but
no, yeah, I mean they definitely had several opportunities to like bring themselves to a higher worldwide profile throughout their careers.
Yeah.
Like, just somehow got even bigger.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, sorry, not to go off on that.
Did you like the NWA one?
I never finished that.
Oh, I saw it in theaters with my friend Kyle.
I got like an hour and a half into it, I think. I got to when Ice Cube left the group and he did No Vaseline. I got to about that section of the movie, and then that's when I stopped.
Yeah, that song is about.
I know. Jerry Hell. Did you hear what he said about me? That racist.
it was pretty good. I really expected it to be super cringe. I'd say the worst one of those types of movies I've ever seen. Mm-hmm. Like in terms of just the most cringe, like going to a bad wax museum kind of thing. Mm-hmm. The CBGB movie.
Oh, I haven't seen that one.
I don't know if you're into any like early 70s, like first wave, like 75 to 78, like first wave punk, like Talking Heads, Ramones, Suicide, Television.
What is it, the M
Blondie.
What is it? The M fucking God, what's the one? I am aware of some of those. The Talking Heads I'm more into than any other ones. You know what I mean? But
well, yeah, it's real. I mean, they put them all in that film.
Yeah.
One of the better ones I saw. Oh man, who is the man? I gotta think of what it's called because I'd like to say it.
Loved as a kid. The Temptations movie. It's like a 5-hour movie.
Yeah,
it's like a 5-hour Temptations biopic from that used to play on VH1 all the time.
I enjoyed that
one. There was a really bad Def Leppard one too from a similar era. That one was fun to watch too. I used to watch that one quite a bit. You get to watch the drummer lose his arm. That's cool. Rolls his car in the desert playing, racing somebody on the highway.
I can't think. I saw a good one. I can't really remember who it's about.
That was the first time I realized that human beings could lose parts of them. Was watching that biopic because I was like 5. And I was like, oh, you cannot have an arm.
You'll just die.
And you don't die, though. You'll keep living.
Chapter 14, Lambda Core.
Lambda.
Let me give this one a shot. Let me see if
and Omega Mu. Now
look. Now look. Yeah.
Now look.
Now look.
You have to sound a little more panicked.
Now look.
There's a sense of panic.
Yeah, no, you go for it. I just want to see if I can hit it.
Okay. Now look, if anyone can end this catastrophe, it's the science team in the Lambda complex at the opposite end of the base.
I just was on the opposite end of the base.
You told me to come to Lambda from there.
After much struggle, Gordon finally reaches the Lambda complex, which he discovers to be a hot co-ed dorm.
It's fucking raw!
To be the place where Black Mesa developed the teleportation technology that has allowed scientists to travel to Zen in the first place. The handful of surviving personnel who have held themselves up in a small stronghold inform Gordon that the satellite he launched earlier was not able to reverse the effects of the resonance cascade because an immensely powerful being on the other side is keeping the rift between the worlds open, and Gordon must go to Zen and kill it to prevent the aliens from taking over completely. Before being teleported to Zen, Gordon gains access to the arsenal, health, and AGV charge caches, and is finally given the long jump module. After an attempted interception by alien controllers, the scientist opens a portal and Gordon jumps in.
Jordan Freeman, baby. Catch me live. Probably tonight again. No, fucking... I don't know if I just missed it. Did they tell you how to use the long jump module?
Mm-hmm.
I missed it then. I had to Google it. I got it, and I must have been reading a chat message or responding to somebody. Because then afterwards,
maybe I'm wrong, but they do cover it in the tutorial.
Oh, okay. I must have forgotten it by
now.
now.
I thought they gave you like a place to try it right when you first get it.
They did, but I didn't know how to use it.
Oh, maybe it didn't. It may have come up on screen briefly.
Yeah,
but it may
I must have not been looking. That's what I thought. Because a lot of time when you get like a weapon, it'll be like press this to do.
But back in chapter 1 or 2.
Mm-hmm.
You have to jump across like a broken elevator shaft.
Yes, so to grab a ladder.
And do you remember we couldn't get that jump when we were playing co-op together?
Yeah.
We did the jump like 100 times, and I was like, oh, I think you gotta do the long jump. And like, I think I was telling you, like, you crouch jump. And
I remember it not working.
Yeah, because you don't have
it yet, yeah.
But I didn't know, because all I knew was, oh yeah, that's how you do the long jump in Half-Life.
That was such a frustrating experience. That whole
I didn't have that trouble.
Right.
Like,
no, not at all.
I wonder if maybe the frame rate was fucked up or something that was causing us to miss that jump.
It had to have been something.
Because
there was something wrong with that.
It seemed like
the way we moved was fucked.
I was gonna say that, like, and I'm sure there's a Half-Life fan who's like, yeah, obviously this is what's up. But I think the frame rate was fucked up because Sven co-op was way faster than single player co-op in my memory.
Well, there were moments in Half-Life where I was like, man, I wish I could move a little slower, and it took me a while to figure out you just had to hold shift or whatever.
Yeah,
but
I saw that happen on stream.
Yeah, but Sven co-op was uncontrollable.
Yeah, okay, that's how I felt too. And I think it was a frame rate issue, and I think that's what was costing us to also miss that jump.
That checks out. It was literally, I remember being like, I'm having a hard time stopping when I want to. You know what I mean?
And I'm wondering if, I bet if we look into that would be the case. And I will look into that, and I will give a quick note here on the video as to what I found. Because I do need to satisfy my curiosity.
We'll never play it again on stream, but...
No. I liked this part where you're going through the Lambda complex and stuff, and you have to get them, help them to activate the teleporter thing.
Yeah, there's a couple things you have to do, and you have to defend him while he's activating the teleporter and stuff.
I liked all this. I thought this was dope.
It's the first part, aside from the very beginning, where you're getting a sense of how the place worked. You know what I mean? Again, it's kind of cool where you're getting to interact with a bunch of other characters at once. You know what I mean? You're seeing the scientists be like, okay, we can do this. We can save this. It was very cool to see. I like this whole section. And I really did I was using the revolver for most of this, I think, because the revolver was...
Revolver, the Velvet Revolver. It rules.
Revolver the magazine. When the little tiny boss babies were floating around, you could just dome those guys 2 shots. Every time they teleport, I was just...
I couldn't really understand what those were.
They were tiny Nihilants.
It didn't really make sense to me. Because I didn't... Until I got to the actual one, I was like, wait, is that those were? They look like Jack Kirby drawings. I don't know. I didn't really understand.
No, I hear you. They look like just like
MDK enemies.
Yeah, or any mastermind character from an old, like you said, Jack Kirby from an old comic like that, where it's this man, his super intelligence is his greatest power and greatest burden. And he's like, ugh. He looks in pain, but his head looks like one single ball.
I'm looking up Sven co-op, and I don't see anything about running too fast, but I really feel like it was.
It was for sure running too fast. Maybe on the Steam community page there'll be something.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. But I tried to do a quick search. I also felt like, oh damn, like is this it? Am I going to Zen? And it's like I guess here's the thing. So Half-Life was one of my favorite games of all time. But we'll get into a brief talk on the expansion packs. I guess expansion packs is the term.
Yeah, expansions.
It's weird. It's weird that like expansions have like basically become DLC because it's downloadable content. But like DLC is sometimes like I've had people be like, "Oh, I don't like DLC is shitty. Like you shouldn't do that to gamers. Like you should give them the whole thing." Yeah, and it's like but okay, but like I think for the latest Yakuza game, they locked New Game Plus behind DLC.
You had to pay for it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That I'm not in love with.
Right.
And the DLC stuff I'm not in love with is the stuff where it's like Team Fortress 2, I think, was the first one to really start doing a bunch. And then like Call of Duty and a bunch of things like that started taking after it. And pretty much now any online service multiplayer game has a shit ton of it. Anything at all. But I think fucking like God, what was the game I was thinking of? I completely just lost my train of thought.
Leisure Suit Larry.
Yeah, I was thinking of Leisure Suit Larry, yeah.
The big titty DLC.
The big titty DLC. No, but the DLCs that I like are the ones Remedy. Remedy does a great job with DLCs, I think. Where the DLC you're getting is like it's like an entire other game. Almost.
Well, it comes
a smaller
from the old
game,
school,
but it's another game.
The old school expansion pack idea, where it's like expansion packs were basically getting like a 1.5 of the game, instead of a full 2.
Mm-hmm. And it's like it's a big difference. I get why people don't like it because a lot of people equate DLC to weapon skins and you know what I mean, cosmetics,
which is all downloadable content.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. This thing will not stay lit for some reason.
You probably rolled it like shit. No, but
well, feel free to try it if you'd like.
I'll give it a go. But I think that's what most people equate DLC to. Rather than an expansion.
And I just wish there was a way to say...
Wish they just delineated.
Look.
They'd separate the two.
Look, idiot. Look, you fucking dunce. At this point, the majority of game releases are DLC because, like, even if you get a disc, you're downloading... Sometimes you still have to download the game or download, like, crucial parts of the game.
Yes, 100%.
Or a day one patch that like the game won't really work very well without.
You fully download. People keep saying this in comments, so no matter what, we end up coming back to Starfield at some point during the Hive plays recently. But you fully download Starfield, launch Starfield, and then it has to download and install all of the shaders and everything like that on the start screen. And you're kind of like, what the fuck am I doing here?
They're teasing like a big Starfield update.
They've done that twice already, and both times they haven't fixed the problem that will not allow me to finish the game.
That sucks.
I know. Believe me. And the thing is, people on forums have just stopped posting about it because it's just, at this point, I think everybody in my boat has either just started a new game or has given up on it. But I won't start a new game. I'm at Endgame. I'm at the Endgame.
Believe that, Starfield.
Yeah, take that, Todd Howard. I don't care how fucking good your show is.
Man.
Yeah, that June
Fallout show is so good.
Mm-hmm. So good. Such a good show.
Recently, I was at my local Ollie's, I was at Michael's, and I got this little Game Boy tin, and I kept some cigarettes in it.
Oh, there you
some
go.
Little homemade cigarettes, some little homemade funny cigarettes,
hand-rolled cigarillos.
You can try that one if you'd like a fighting chance here.
You probably just have there's probably a big tobacco stem or something in there.
Before we move on to the Zen part, what I want to say is
there's no sex
I've played
and violence.
So much of this game, and Zen is where I've always tripped up and quit up, zip up.
It's where you've always gotten up, stood up, come on and threw your hands up.
Yeah, it's true. I don't really like this. And similar to On a Rail, it's one of the parts of the game that all people seem to want to. You can snuff it. It's like so many people just bitch about these two parts of the game, Zen and On a Rail. I keep seeing people I really think On a Rail is a lot of fun.
I think it's a lot of fun, but I
did not think it was fun.
I do get where people are coming from with On a Rail.
Zen, I did not think it was fun. All right.
I just keep thinking everything's Zen. Everything's Zen. I don't think so.
I don't know what that is.
You don't know? That's Bush.
I've never really heard any of those songs except like in passing on the radio.
Yeah,
and
that's
I never, and like, by the time I like get what it is, I'm like, oh, it's that song. Every time I go, and which is crazy because that band was so big.
Bush, I kind of like Bush. I'm not even gonna.
I like what I've heard. I guess what I'm saying is like I'm surprised of all those 90s bands I'm super familiar with. I know like the video of him playing like in the rain at like Woodstock '94 or something.
Oh yeah, I think he's playing like Glycerin or something
by himself.
Like that. Yeah.
He's on the electric guitar.
Oh,
it might be acoustic, but it's like a clean electric if not.
Yeah. There's one of the two. Yeah.
I know that. I know 1.5 seconds of Glycerin. I know. And the day over glycerin. I don't know any.
What a man easier you.
and I know they have other songs, and I can't think of any of them. And every time there's been a bunch of times.
Machine Head. Got a machine head, better than the rest.
I feel like that band really didn't get like, because I remember those songs when they dropped.
Yeah.
I was very young, but I was really into music listening. Like I always had a little radio Walkman and like always had cassette decks. I was dubbing songs off the radio.
I always had something. Yeah, I always had something on.
I was like very into music. I remember listening to like, that was like the pop. That was what was on the pop stations at the time. Was a lot of indie rock stuff.
Yeah, they were definitely more like the poppier side. At least the more mainstream.
I shouldn't say indie rock, but I mean like
alt rock.
Alt rock. Yeah,
that was much more mainstream side of the alt rock at the time.
Yeah, like them.
They
Oasis.
toured with like Nickelback. You know what I mean? Like Bush would tour with Nickelback once Nickelback got big. I know it seems like a weird pairing, but when you think about it,
no, yeah, radio rock.
Yeah.
I don't remember Bush getting played a lot except for Glycerin.
Glycerin got paid a lot. Buzz would play him a fair amount because I know a fair amount of their songs. Like Swallowed's a great song, I think.
I'm sure. I guess what I'm saying is every time I go, what was that? I go, oh, that was Bush. I gotta fucking listen to that band one time.
They're good. There's nothing wrong with Bush,
but I don't know why.
Nothing wrong with Bush.
I don't know. I don't know why it like hasn't like connected the way it's like. I could tell you. I could sing you, all the singles from like 40 other of their peers.
Yeah, right. Yeah, of people with the same quality of music
that were not as popular.
Yeah, not at all. Yeah, no, I know what you're saying.
Yeah, and Gavin
Rossdale,
little hottie.
He wasn't one of the ones with the sex tapes, was he? That was just Scott Stapp. I
think if I could be mistaken, isn't Fred Durst also in the Scott Stapp sex tape?
I think he is. I'm 90%.
I think it's on a tour bus.
I've never seen it, but I'm pretty confident Fred Durst is also involved in the Scott Stapp
I've
sex tape.
seen thumbnails from it at least. I don't think I've watched it.
No.
The only once or twice in my life when that first became a thing, I was like, I gotta see these tapes, and then I always be like, ugh. I would always feel a little dirty afterward, and
you feel gross.
And they're not. They're never very erotic or like. It's not like super amorous. It's like it's like a raw graphic kind of sexuality, but it's not really like enticing. And then beyond that, it's kind of like they're shot in like a way that's almost nauseating. Sometimes it's like I remember like the Paris Hilton tape was like night vision.
Yes, I remember. So the only one I've watched genuinely when I was like 16, there was do you remember what was the name of that show where it followed like the three playmates?
You're talking about
like,
Mr. Hands.
Mr. Hand, yes, Mr. Hands.
Yeah. No, you're talking about Girls Next Door.
Girls Next Door. The Kendra, one of them, her name was Kendra.
My house,
yeah, she come on.
Eve is super into that shit.
Come on. I had a poster of them on my wall.
She's been listening to a podcast of theirs, which is very interesting.
Oh yeah. But so the Kendra Wilkinson, I think was her name. Sex tape was the one that came out. So I watched that one. I was like 16 when that dropped. Hooey mama. Not a fun watch.
I think it's Zooey Mama.
Zooey Mama. It is Zooey Mama. But not a fun watch. Like you said, kind of uncomfortable.
Yeah, and then also...
poorly shot. And it's like, I mean, like...
Sometimes you're watching it without the person's consent.
Yeah.
Like some, and not even like without their consent, but like I guess I mean to say against their wishes.
Yes, like in the Kim Kardashian scenario, I think that was the case. Because I think Ray J sold that to Vivid or whatever, and then I think that was the same case for at least the
How
first.
How is that
Paris
not
Hilton.
illegal?
I don't know.
Maybe it is now. I think revenge porn stuff is now.
It is now. Revenge porn has become illegal recently because that was
how is that not just
that was the whole
revenge
Pornhub
porn
issue? You know what I mean?
Though. You know what I mean? It's like selling a sex tape. The other person's like, I don't want that out.
I hear you. They could be grandfathered in at this point.
Oh my god.
You know what I mean? Maybe at this point, just because of how it works. I don't understand. I don't know enough about any of that. You know?
Well, okay,
that was huge when I was in high school. That was like when all that stuff started dropping. You know what I mean? Like the Paris Hilton Exposed and the
One Night in Paris,
then the Kendra and the Kim and Ray J. Lawrence Fishburne's daughter was in one of them. I remember because Lawrence Fishburne was real upset about that. Colin. I wanted to say Ferguson. It's not Colin Ferguson. Fucking the guy, handsome Scottish Colin guy. He was in Bruges. He was in. God.
Colin Farrell.
Colin Farrell had a sex tape. Hulk Hogan had a sex tape. Bret Michaels had a sex tape.
Hulk Hogan's sex tape is also where he said the N-word a bunch.
Yeah, And he also at the beginning of it, he goes, "Oh, I'm so fucking full. I ate too much sushi." I'm like, that's the
not
most
cool.
That's the most raw sex tape you've ever seen
Not
in your
cool.
life.
No, I got something cooking that's gonna blow that away. But I did just go to DuckDuckGo to search for Gavin Rossdale sex tape. No results.
Okay, he didn't. Okay, good. It was just Scott Stapp.
So it must have been scrubbed from the internet. You know?
It definitely exists. It's just not there anymore.
Yeah, gotta be. So all right, so full confession. I played this game on easy.
I think I did normal.
I normally play games on normal, but lately I've been going, let me play on easy because I got to get through it on kind of a time crunch. Mm-hmm. And I also just have like less and less time to game as frequently as I want to. Like I have time to do it for sure, but sometimes it's like if I'm not able to revisit a game for like 3 to 5 days, sometimes even a full week or more.
I won't come back to it. Sometimes.
It's very hard.
It's very hard, yeah.
And it's hard to like acclimate myself to the controls again and to the nuances of the gameplay into a point where I'm not only retaining skill but progressing in skill.
MDK2 was the one I struggled the most with that recently because I had to take like little breaks in between it of nothing substantial, like you said, like a day or two.
Yeah,
where I wouldn't be able to play any MDK2. And then day 3, I go to pick it up, and I'm like, I don't remember how the fuck at all to control the scientist. You know what I mean? Or I don't remember at all how to control this, and I have to totally relearn the controls. And then sometimes, if it's not for I play, that'll discourage me from picking the game back up. You know what I mean? I'll go, I don't really want to deal with that right now.
No, and also, I don't feel like you have to finish a game to appreciate it. I do feel like you shouldn't like review a game if you haven't finished it.
I don't think you should put out a full review of a game and give it a full rating.
But I also just like if someone's like, oh, what do you think of this? I go, oh, I played like a number of hours of it. I really enjoyed my time with it.
Like, I like what I played of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't think that's a caveat that enough people give.
No, I mean, and thankfully with MDK, a lot of the reviews we read gave the caveat that they hadn't finished it or hadn't played it in 10 years.
That they did.
But I wouldn't have even put out the review had I not finished it. Like I haven't.
But you gotta have content.
I haven't played the Jack games in 15 years. Some of my favorite games from my childhood, I wouldn't put out a review of those games based on my memories of them. You know what I mean? And I've played through all those games multiple times.
My posture feels fucked. I'm sorry.
I wouldn't do that. No, you're good. I wouldn't do that. I just wouldn't.
Baby, you a song. You make me wanna
roll my windows down and cruise. That's the song, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I want to make sure. Who's that? Florida Georgia line.
It's Florida Georgia line.
Mason Dixon line.
So this whole time I was getting ready to play the Zen part, I was like, okay, I guess this is it. This is going to be the make or break moment for me with like, do I like this game?
Do you actually finish it
Do
this
I
time?
actually like Half-Life? Because
Yeah.
I go, Half-Life, one of the best games ever made. Half-Life, super impactful. Half-Life, one of my favorite games of all time. Half-Life, better than Black Mesa. And I do want to speak on Black Mesa briefly in this video, but also I haven't ever actually beaten it. And so...
It's same. Where I've been able to say for years, Half-Life's a massive game, Half-Life's incredible. Oh my god, how amazing. Half-Life, one of the greatest games ever made. Also don't think I ever made it past the Zen section. A couple times didn't even make it to the Zen section.
I really think I'd be fine if it didn't have it.
I disagree. So, you were messaging me about it.
I was going, I'm scared.
Yeah, well, yeah. You were just like, I'm at the Zen part. Remember why I quit. You know what I mean? Effectively was what you were saying. You were like, I remember why I quit at this part in the past. Like, I'm not, very difficult. And there's a couple sections in particular. There's a couple of, like, rising up platforming sections where you have to get higher and higher, where I was like, I'm going to fucking freak out. You could find.
I think I had to tell you what to do.
You did. And the one you had to tell me what to do to land on the fucking...
we'll get into that.
Yeah, but anyways... I still kind of had fun with some parts of it. I like the aesthetic of the whole place. I really like changing the entire setting. I appreciate getting to see the homeworld of these creatures that you've been seeing the entire game. Now, there are sections of this that I absolutely hated and would have preferred to not be in there. I think that the game ends on an awful note. You know what I mean? But I don't entirely dislike the Zen section. I thought parts of it were very cool.
I agree.
And I really liked going through it.
I agree. I think it's just the negatives outweigh the positives for me. And
I don't know if I feel the same way.
Not by a ton either, though. But I do think when I consider it, it's like, I guess when I just judge it directly against the first part of the game, like the Earth levels, those are so well constructed. And even the most frustrating parts, I kind of go, whatever, quick save, let's keep going.
Yeah.
Mostly just falling off of shit or like, wow, okay, like this jump is gonna kill me. Okay, yeah.
A
But
lot of eye rolling sections.
Yeah. Whereas the Zen parts, I go, I don't fucking understand this, and I have to look it up. And this sucks. And it's like it's making me frustrated. Which the rest of the game, I never had that happen. Now, that doesn't mean that this is like the worst or it has no redeeming value, but
no,
it's just like I don't. It's just not up to the same quality, and then also, in my opinion, it's not up to the same quality.
I agree for sure.
And from what I've read, they added it in pretty late.
Really? It was like an afterthought, kind of.
I don't know if afterthought's the best way to put it, or if it was just like maybe it. Hard to say. Was it something they had planned, and then development issues just made it so like it was too close to the deadline when they finally got work done on it? It just wasn't given the same amount of time as the other sections, from what I've read, and I don't really know the details of that. But I go, oh, all right, I can definitely see how that could be the case.
I can see that.
It's a little rough at certain points.
It feels less fully realized than the rest of the game too, just when you're exploring the areas and stuff like that.
Yeah, and the first 3/4 of the game basically are just so tight and not super samey,
No, not at all. Not at all.
A good amount of diversity in the environments and like.
Well, because it's similar to in Portal where you get to or Portal 2, I guess more. Where you slowly start to explore more and more of the facility. You know what I mean? Like you have the section that you're familiar with at the beginning, but then you go into the places you're not allowed into and the rest of it. And then you're outside and then you're back underground and then you're in,
And even Zen continued to introduce new mechanics and new types of exploration or movement to the game, which again, or new types of combat even. New ideas were being presented continuously. Minnow, shut the fuck up.
Someone's trying to break into the room. She's like, it's like the door's like, boom, boom, boom.
Hang out for a minute.
Nah.
Chapter 15, Zen. So you jump through the portal. You're in the alien realm.
Yes.
And I really thought that this was a flawless part of the game.
Just delete the last couple minutes of the video.
Oh, I edited that all out.
Yeah.
I don't want people knowing how I feel. I loved seeing the corpses of the people in the HEV suits, because up until this point, you're the only person in the suit like that. And you kind of like, almost to me, the way I took this, it's like it's like, you know, seeing someone in power armor, or seeing like a superhero in his superhero costume.
Yeah.
It's like, it's a status symbol, but also it imbues you with abilities that no one else around you has, and it gives you an advantage physically, intellectually, with the combat, with navigation.
Yeah, I mean, you're just a
everything.
regular guy, but clearly you're giving like the literal military a hard time this entire game, you know? So it's like...
And then it's like, oh, here's like 100 of the people just like you that are just dead.
That have just
and you're
died
like,
while
oh,
being
like
sick.
my...
And it was...
You know, my advantage is now gone.
It was cool, too, to see how throughout the game you're realizing you get to the questionable ethics section, and you're like, okay, this is deeper than I thought. We've been getting things at least from this realm or from this planet for a while now, you know what I mean? This resonance cascade wasn't our first contact, clearly. But then you see this and you realize, oh, we've been directly going there and taking these things back.
Yeah, it wasn't... I was like, okay, I guess like stuff is teleporting in, maybe?
That's kind of what I thought. It's like maybe we opened a rift and things have been coming through occasionally, and we we experiment on it, you know what I mean?
No, they're doing full expeditions.
We're going straight in, taking it, you know what I mean? Like, and just, like you said, like, the amount of bodies that you find around, it's like, they're just throwing the guys at this.
I guess it really says something about colonialism.
Manifest destiny, baby.
Once in the border world of XN. That's kind of like the suck. Gordon encounters many of the aliens that had been teleported into Black Mesa in their natural habitats, as well as the remains of some HEV-wearing researchers who came before him.
They did.
In order to progress, he needs to reactivate a portal inside one of the floating islands to venture more of Zen's perimeters. This was terribly confusing for me. This first section...
So you're in like the little circle?
You're on top of the circle, and then it's like kind of like a carousel, and you jump down. There's like a little area within the circle.
Yep, there's a couple spots you can heal.
I use my dart gun a lot here. Terribly confusing. I don't know if I had to look this up or if I just eventually was like, oh shit, okay, I think I see. You gotta like jump off onto some area and then like go somewhere where you don't think you'd have to be.
Yeah, because it's weird because the thing you have to like walk out on, if I remember, is like kind of difficult to get out onto.
Yeah.
And it's something that you normally wouldn't even think to because it'd be too dangerous.
Very MDK2 reminiscent with the platforming, the way platforms like bring you up and around. They're all like
remember
on a
that
cycle.
one with like the weird street lamps going on everywhere? That whole section is what this reminded me of for sure. I got
the worst section of MDK2 in my opinion. I think.
Also can't remember if I Googled it, but you can fucking... I took a long time here. I was just doing loops around this thing.
I did many loops, and also you can find some stuff. You go
there's
in,
little
you're
things,
like, oh, there's a little compartment.
But
here.
I was just hoping. Well, because of that, I was just kept thinking, I'm just missing something.
Me too.
I'm just missing another entrance. I'm missing when I go into these places. There's...
I don't know. I honestly can't remember if I looked it up. It might show my footage when I look at this.
I also could have... Occasionally, I get a little bit of help, thankfully, from the viewers when I'm streaming these games. Occasionally, someone will be like you will be like, hop on the second ship or whatever, or so. Which just to say, I would never have fucking guessed to do that on my own. I don't think. You know what I mean?
Right. So to even get off of the little circle part. Where you first start, this large floating island, I should say. Because there's smaller islands that are just basically platforms.
Yeah, literally just floating
platforms. To even get off there took me quite a while.
Yep.
And then when you do get to the next part where there's like a bunch of platforms that are like alive, it seems. And you can go down underground and there's like a giant battle happening and you're like going through, like you can go down underneath the level through all these tunnels. And I don't even know if that even matters.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to.
And then some of the platforms will bring you way up, like the elevator, the secret elevator in MDK2. That's what I kept thinking of.
Yeah.
And then you do eventually have to like jump through. It also reminds me, I don't know if you ever played Super Mario Brothers 2.
No.
Okay. Like really good game. One of the best NES games, I think, by far. It really, really holds up. It doesn't play like any other Mario game in particular.
Mm-hmm.
And it's...
Only Super Mario Bros. Games I played were on the SNES.
Damn.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. might be worth it to play 2 or 3. One might be a little harder to get into. Mm-hmm. It's very good, but like 2 or 3 are both like elevated platformers to me. Like they really hold up in terms of like straight up 2D side-scrolling platformers.
Yeah, just straight up Mario Bros. 2
like
and 3.
not like good for their time. I mean, they're like really good still, I think.
Mm-hmm. Fuck yeah.
But there's a section in the last world of the game. It's like 8 worlds maybe with like 4 levels each, we'll say. You have to do these sorts of like elevated platforming, hop on like an animal that's like flying across and then like get off there, and like you have to like be like, okay, what's the next logical step here, and like figure it out.
Right. Well,
that's
also,
like what
solving
the end,
a puzzle.
A little bit. And like it's not super complicated in this game in Mario 2, but it was very similar where it was super complicated in MDK2.
Yeah.
And then this one, I spent so much time here. I did have to look this up for sure.
Yeah, it just felt intentionally obtuse. You know what I mean? Like it was one of those things where it was, had you not told me, I would have been stuck there forever. Right.
So the biggest thing is you're going, and you can go up, and then like you can just be fucked and be stuck, and you just gotta take damage.
Well, because I was like, I was trying to like see if I could land onto the top of one of those other little platforms that has like what looks like teleporters.
Yeah, because basically you're just looking for the next teleporter. Get around,
which is what I thought. And then, so when I saw the platform that all the ships were flying out to, excuse me, I think because I had been stuck in that section for so long, something in my head said, that's where you came from. Something in my head said, that's how you arrived at this section. Don't go back there. You don't need to get there. You arrived in that teleporter, then you hopped over here. And now you have to figure out what to do. So I didn't even like look at that as a fucking option or possibility. And then you said it, and I hopped on it. And even when I hopped on it in my head, I was like, well, I'm just going back where I came from.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Totally reasonable.
Yeah, but then I hopped on there and it saved me, and I was like, "Fuck! If I hadn't had that in my head, maybe."
But here's the thing.
Found it, but I still don't think I would have found it.
Here's the thing that I think is mean about this area.
Mm-hmm.
You're getting shot at the whole time by a bunch of difficult to fight enemies that you don't really have a ton of ammo or good long distance like weapons to adequately take them out. You can sometimes be like, all right, I can fucking revolver this one pretty clean right now.
But you probably used a lot of your revolver ammo protecting the scientist while he started the portal earlier. You know what I mean? Before you even got to Zen, which I did. So I didn't have a ton of revolver ammo coming into this.
So you're kind of fucked that way. And then what you need to do is eventually get on a bunch of platforms, and there's like these like they look like stingrays or like manta rays.
Yeah, that's how I describe them, yeah.
And they're flying around like a fucking Lisa Frank painting. And you have to jump on a particular one that is heading toward a portal.
Yep.
If you jump on the other ones, you fall through them. You clip through the other ones. You can't ride the other ones. So I assumed you couldn't ride that one. Yeah, and I could be wrong about that, but I should have footage of me clipping through the other ones. Mm-hmm. And now maybe that might have been an error.
Right. Who knows?
But to have it be
just the one,
that seems like a huge oversight to the sort of like in Half-Life, it's kind of like there are rules to the world and how you interact with the objects. And having a good understanding of those rules will give you a huge leg up in every situation, because you go
and solving any of the
I can fucking use this in a logical way.
Oh, I can stack this thing, or I can drag this thing over. Oh, well, that looks like
and
I
there's
can break
a
it because I've been able to break stuff
there's like I don't remember what it's called, but the gun that you get that like shoots out the little alien critters.
Yeah, I don't remember what that one is either. Yeah.
But you know, and when you find them, they're in those little pods, like they're like basically like little plants growing out of the ground.
Yep.
There's one place, I think it's in the Lambda complex, where you can like stack a bunch of shit and then like get up into a very high vent, and and then they're just there at the end of the vent and they're jumping at you, and it kind of sucks.
Yeah,
it's actually like almost like a trap.
Yes,
but
I remember that very specifically.
It's kind of sick that it's like, yeah, you can go up there.
Yeah.
Figure it out. You got some stuff.
And then there is stuff for you in there, too.
Yeah.
Once you kill them, there is stuff for you in there.
Right.
So it's like...
Yeah, but it's just like, there's stuff in there where it's like, cool. Like, I can, if I want, I can use what I've learned in this game and apply it. But then to be like, oh, if I jump on these guys, I clip through. Okay, I guess I won't jump on them. Mm-hmm. And because everything else in the game, it's pretty consistent in its logic. There's very few situations where you're like, that didn't work the way I expected it to. Yeah. Usually it's like, oh, of course I'm going to fall.
Half the time
and die.
The bulk of the times that I died in the rest of the game, I 100% understood why. And I was like, yep, that was me. You know what I mean? Or, oh, well, I just didn't nail that, you know?
And so I definitely looked this up. And when you get to the portal, you go to a chapter number 16 called Gonad's Lairs. Or Gonarch's Lair.
Sorry, Grognak's Lair.
Freeman is made to face one of Nihilanth's...
I was saying Nihilanth's.
Nihilanth's...
Like a nihilist.
Most powerful minions. The Gonarch, found in its lair, located in another floating island. Gordon is able to kill it and use the portal created after its death to continue. This is another chapter that I've heard a lot of people complain about specifically. And even when I was like, oh yeah, I'm having a hard time in Half-Life, someone goes, nah, Gonarch's Lair probably, right? Mm-hmm. I was like, no, bitch, that was fun, and I loved it, and it was perfect. No.
I don't remember having a hard time with Gonarch's Lair.
I certainly did, because it's not... There's no indication that it's taking damage.
I gotta look up Gonarch. If I see a photo of him, I think I'll remember the...
It's the monster you have to fight in like 5 places, and then it retreats a little bit, and you have to like follow it, and then it retreats a little bit, and you have to follow it.
Show me an image, don't show me.
And you can only kill it when it gets all the way back down to the last area it goes to.
Oh, yes. And
that's another thing that breaks the game's logic.
There's the spots on the ground where you could shoot them out, and there's like the webbed walls and stuff you have to occasionally...
Yeah, there's some of that.
Yes.
But you have to keep chasing him.
Yes, you chase him throughout the whole area, yes.
But it's like... And now I've seen some people complain about Gordon chasing and murdering an animal that was retreating. I go, well... War changes people, baby.
I actually remember this section very well because I had to Google how to get through it. And I remember having a very hard time with it, actually. Because my game was broken.
That's what he says every time he does bad.
No, it was broken. So when you fall into his lair, right, you're chasing him the whole way, right? And then you fall down.
But he won't move until you inflict a certain amount of damage on him.
I did that.
And then he'll move to the next part.
I wasted nearly all of my ammo on it.
Sure.
And he would not move down to the next part. And I ended up Googling it, and a lot of people were like, can't trigger him. Trigger won't happen. Cannot trigger him to come to this next area. Couldn't do it. If you just throw a bunch of grenades at the part of the floor that breaks, it'll just blow up and break without him having to fall down and do it for you. So I just did that.
That's and then you progress through it.
And then you can progress through the rest of the game. So that's how I got through this part. That's why I couldn't remember fighting Gonarch in its lair, because I didn't.
Well,
you can find on the stream, there's a section where I'm standing above him when he's in that little spot where you can slide down in.
Yep.
And I dumped literally all of my ammo into him.
Yeah, I dumped almost all of my ammo into him.
Yeah, and did nothing. And he didn't
it eventually worked for me, but it took a really long time, and there was no indication that I was doing the right thing.
No, well, and based upon what I read, you don't have to do that. You're supposed to be able to just, when you hop down there, he follows you into there. That's not supposed to happen.
You can't progress that far until... You have to still go through the first 2 phases with them.
Yes, yeah, you do.
Where you just hit him, and then eventually he leaves. But when you're hitting him, there's no indication that that's working.
No, not at all.
And I think that is something that I think really sucks about this part.
Yes, I have to agree, for sure.
Where the only reason I know this is how it works is because I looked it up. Because when I was hitting him, I was like, he doesn't really give any indication that he's taking damage. Mm-hmm. And also, like, if I'm pushing my most powerful attacks to this guy repeatedly, it's like, oh, it's a scripted enemy thing where it has to go phase 1, phase 2, and then phase 3 is where you can maybe kill him or whatever.
Yeah.
But
I never got to get him to phase 3, though.
Yeah, well...
Unfortunately.
Weird part of the game. Anyway, Chapter 17, Interloper. Gordon's journey across Zen continues, but his supplies are running short, spent on destroying the Gonarch. He is teleported to an alien grunt cloning facility where the army of Zen is created. Gordon finds a group of docile Vortigaunts working before exiting the facility and getting ready to enter one last teleporter. Issue I had with this part. This is where I decided to It's hard to say exactly what I'm thinking of. The part where I decided to turn on cheats was where there was two gargantuas, whatever they're called, the Gargonzolas, two of them rampaging around a big map, and you had to like go through and do, and there was like also the slamming tentacle. There was like two of those, and you'd like cross a little bridge, and like you had to like kind of chase the guy so he'd like eventually break down a wall, and like I couldn't figure this out.
So I think because I spent so much time on the last section of this game that I'm going to be honest, it seems like I blacked out Gonarch and Interloper because until I found the photos of Gonarch, I didn't remember how fucking hard that was for me. I didn't use cheats on Interloper, but I can't imagine it was easy for me. You know what I mean? I made it through this whole game without cheats. Thank Christ. Definitely Googled what to do a couple times and used, obviously, in the Gonarch's Lair, like not a cheat, but an exploit, I guess. You know what I mean?
But that section where you're in that giant combat thing, and there were like the fucking like the things that would throw you up in the air.
Are you on like a big? Do you like run across like a kind of a looped bridge?
Yeah.
At one point, okay, I remember what you're talking about. Then
it's just confusing.
I just remember getting through this. If I remember right, I really just like did this one like speed running style.
Well,
where I just like sprinted and like would die.
I just kept getting too confused. So Interloper, when you're there, the first Vortigaunts you meet are docile. They don't fight you or anything, and and I think these are the ones that maybe have like the. Somebody mentioned that they're like enslaved because some of them have like chains on their wrists or like
something or broken chains or something. Yeah.
Something bonding them, and the other ones don't.
Yes.
The thing I didn't get was you're in the little factory, they're working. Okay. You go to the next part of the factory, everyone's attacking you. Yeah. And it's like I was like, well, wait, did they just they keep all the docile guys in the front, and then like you get past them, then things get hostile? That didn't make any sense to me. And I think that maybe it just wasn't totally given space to be fully realized because they're clearly talking about
having that context,
somebody being enslaved by someone.
Yes. And having the context that you said that it seems like maybe they had to rush this section or maybe they didn't have the time they needed for it really makes some things make more sense. You know what I mean?
Because also...
Especially because it's the main part where like multiple people online I could find having game-breaking issues in this section. Where you don't encounter that nearly as much in the forums in any of the earlier segments of the game.
The final boss also had the same kind of like shackles.
Weird shackles. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. It's hard to tell.
So...
Because it's hard... Because there's still no Half-Life 3... we still don't know what the whole hierarchy of this realm or world is. You know what I mean? We don't really understand because even like G-Man is like you're available to the highest. You don't understand you're available to the highest bidder. And you're like, okay, so clearly G-Man has a lot of power, but clearly he's also answering to something.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, he even talks about his employers.
And then there's a thing that talks to Breen at one point, you know what I mean, in Half-Life 2, where it's like, what do you mean to take a new host body? You know what I mean? And it's like, it kind of reminds me of the Grave Mine from Halo, and I don't know.
I don't know about that.
Very cool.
I just haven't played those games. So I don't know. This whole part was very confusing, and they are cloning the grunts, and like if there's these like big sarcophagus barrel things, ceramic looking that you can break open, sometimes accidentally while you're shooting at other enemies.
Yep.
And the grunts spawn from them.
Yep.
And it is clearly a factory, and again, very reminiscent of the factory kind of conveyor belt part of the first portion of the game.
The part that we discussed being a frustrating platforming section.
With even worse though, because there's shitloads of really tough enemies.
Yeah, it was really hard to not break open the sarcophagi throughout this, or like the little eggs that they were in. You know what I mean? Like,
can't use explosives.
No, it can't at all. Can't at all use explosives. And the enemies that you were fighting aren't like easy. Minnow is going for it out there. Or that is Sluggo? You know the difference. Yeah. Oh, is she? Oh yeah, she's right behind me.
Can you guys be good?
What's up, Slugman?
Hey, you want to be good?
Slugman, you want to hop on one of our laps? Probably your dad.
Come here, big papa.
Me gusta cuando te llame grande papi.
Well, I just found this whole part to be very, very frustrating, didn't I? Yes.
Yeah, it was. I mean, you had to be really careful, which was frustrating. And on top of that, like you said, it's just like all the enemies that you encounter are like the strongest enemies you can encounter for the rest of the game.
Yeah, and they can like fucking like ace you from across the map.
Yeah, I mean, half of them have heat-seeking weapons that will follow you around corners into other rooms.
Now, whoa, what are you doing, Daddy? All right, whoa.
Back in the window.
Back in the window again,
'Cause I'm back. I'm back in the window again. Oh, and then you were going for Back in Black after that.
Yeah, I was doing a little mashup. So,
Back in Black.
I also, maybe it gets explained, but in Half-Life 2, I was like, oh, you guys are just friends with Vortigans now?
Yeah,
And then no one ever said like, oh,
it turns out that some of them are enslaved by,
you
Mm-hmm.
probably haven't seen one of these guys in a little while. Well,
Yeah.
here's why. And instead they're just like, we talk like comedy relief characters. Mm-hmm.
I pointed that out in the live stream where like you come across the first Vortigaunt and I was like, you motherfucker, I'll kill you. Which they address. I don't mean to keep comparing this game to Halo because I've done that 3 times now, I think, throughout. But it's clear that Halo draws as an FPS, Halo 1 at least, you know what I mean, as an FPS draws a lot from Half-Life, as many FPSs from the era after this. But in Halo 2, there's another moment. You join up with the group of the more secular aliens. They come to your side, and they're like, "We'll work with the humans. They want to commit a genocide against the planet, completely destroy Earth, kill all humans." You know what I mean? We don't. You know, we're not looking for that. And you meet one of them, and you've been in like a stasis for years at this point. You come out of stasis and it's Halo 3. You come out of stasis and one of the aliens is just there and he's on your side now, and you immediately like knock the other Marines to the ground and put like a gun to his head. And they're like, whoa, don't kill him. And you're like, why not? And they're like, we're all working together now. It's cool. Everything's cool. And you're like, I don't know about that.
See, I can see how that'd be like incompatible with the tone of Half-Life, but could have at least said, oh, Gordon, I bet you're wondering about this.
Yeah.
You know, or like,
because Gordon is a silent protagonist.
Also, so even like, on, I can't remember her name now. It was like Lucy or whatever, but the friendly head crab, they're like, oh, don't worry, Gordon. She's had her things removed or
Lenore.
Whatever. Lenore. Yeah, it might be
Lenore.
Lenore. Lenore. Oh, just like Bill Daughtry's ex-wife.
Lenore. Lenore.
You're kind of doing Hank.
Yeah, no, I can't do a good Bill. Bill's hard.
I could lick your pussy, Peg.
So you're still just doing Hank.
No, I'm not. I'm Bill.
You're Hank.
It's because I think are they both Mike Judge?
No, Bill is the guy from Office Space who plays. You need my stapler.
Oh, really?
That's the guy who voices Bill.
Never knew that before.
Mm-hmm. He's also in Get Out. Have you seen Get Out?
Yeah.
He's the blind guy at the end who tells them that they.
Huh.
He's like, I'm interested in your art. You're a great artist. You're a great photographer. You have a great eye. He's a blind guy who clearly he clearly wants the main character to take over his body so he can have a good eye again. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. He's also in Dodgeball.
I saw Dodgeball in theaters when it came out.
He's the guy who's like, he's the one who finds out about it. He's the guy with the glasses. He's Bill Daughtry's voice.
Haven't seen it since then. Maybe I should revisit it. I like all the Jordan Peele movies. Nope was a little confusing for me to follow, but they're all pretty good. And
I didn't see Nope.
It's a little confusing, I think. It's good. It's good, though. Did you see the Candyman sequel? That they call it was so crazy. They call it Candyman, but it is Candyman. It's just a sequel. It's a direct sequel.
I haven't seen it, and I saw the original Candyman, so I wanted to see it.
You'd like it, I think. It was surprisingly good, and it like built on the lore of the original in a way that like I don't know.
You've seen Barry also, right?
The show
Barry?
Not very much.
No? Okay, it's this guy. Stephen Root.
Wow. Didn't know that was him. I know who that is.
Yeah, he voices Bill.
Wow.
Yeah.
No wonder I can't do his voice.
Yeah, that guy. Yeah, because
He's a Sagittarius and I'm an Aquarius, so it would never work out.
But that's just what that guy sounds like, kind of. You know what I mean? So it's like you can't.
Chapter 18th, Nihilanth. Oh, okay. We got one more quote from the scientist here.
Okay.
We suspect there is an immense portal over there, created by the intense concentration of a single powerful being. You'll know it when you see it. I hate to say this, Gordon, but you must kill it.
Gordon has to kill a baby.
Has to kill a baby.
In a vast cave, Gordon finally confronts the powerful and mysterious being that is holding the portal open, the Nihilanth. Gordon destroys its healing system, allowing him to destroy its vulnerable brain. As the creature dies, it floats toward the ceiling, emanating portals.
Emanating?
Emanating. I've never seen the word emanating, I don't think.
It's like emitting, I think is a better word there even.
And finally, exploding, emanating portals. I don't know. And finally exploding in a giant green blast that overpowers Gordon's senses. I don't think I would have figured out without looking up that you need to shoot the sconces on the wall.
No. I had to watch a video of someone else doing this. You know what I mean?
Confusing
I had to
as
go on YouTube.
hell.
The whole, it's like, this is the most obtuse part of the whole fucking game. This is the, man.
So this is where there were one or two parts before this where I thought it really showed a little bit, but this is where it like kicked into high gear. The shitty textures in this part.
Yes.
Where because of how it's interesting to look at, it's a cool, all of the Zen stuff looks alien in a way that's not played out. They definitely did a great job making this seem like another world, and it's very alive and it feels very,
which is
because it's not just like, it's so many things are just like, oh, it's just eager, it's just alien.
What do they call it when they get into it more? You see more of it in Half-Life 2 a little bit, and when you're inside of the Citadel. What's that called when it's like biotic technology, like living technology? You know?
Yeah,
what I mean?
I don't know, but I know what you mean.
Yeah, like because like the drop ships are creatures. You know what I mean, with like armor on them. But like they can also carry troops. You know what I mean, and stuff. And it's like it's weird as hell. It's cool. It's cool.
But
they touch on that. In
platforming in this part. So if you get hit, you get knocked down, and you can fall down a huge thing. And there's platform up,
and there's those little like air puffers that'll shoot
which
you
are like
fucking...
they're great in a game like Quake, where you need you want to jump to the next level of the arena. In a game like this, it's a little annoying.
Most of the time, they were just annoying to me.
Yep. But also the textures caused it so that I couldn't always tell the distance of a platform where it was, because it would blend into the wall, and depth perception was kind of ruined by these textures.
The amount of times I died.
Baby.
Minnow. Sweet girl.
Sluggo
too. He hits so hard, man.
Yeah.
He jumps down with such weight.
Well, he weighs 100 pounds.
He's a fat fucking cat, so checks out. All right. What was I saying? I just lost my whole train of thought.
We were just talking about how the platforming back up after you got hit by the boss was difficult.
The amount of times that I like just undershot or overshot the platform to get to, and then fell to my death.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Because if you don't land back on one of the floaty guys, or on the and even half the time, sometimes it'll launch you up.
Yeah,
and you'll still land on the platform, and you'll still take like 30 fucking damage.
Yeah, I landed on the platform. I should be safe.
Yeah. I landed to the thing you're shooting me to. Why did that hurt me?
Yeah.
Because then it's like, okay, well, I can stand in like the healing bath here, but if I stand in the healing bath for more than 5 seconds, I'm getting shot at.
Right, but also, did they only put the healing bath there, which are basically like
a fairy fountain.
Infinitely recharging, but they're like the med kit stations.
Yes.
They just don't ever deplete.
They don't ever deplete. No. You can just stand there. And it's slower than the med kit station too.
Significantly. But didn't you feel, and you know what? They made them faster in opposing force.
They did for sure,
which I appreciated.
There's a couple improvements they made in Opposing Force and in maybe not Blue Shift, but in Opposing Force for sure. That I was like, okay, I like this.
I need to let my babies out now.
Yeah, they're fighting now. They don't know what they want.
You guys want to leave? There you go. Get out.
You dumb bitch. You stupid old cunt.
Yeah, I verbally abuse my animals.
Yeah. That's one of my favorite Will Ferrell SNL skits. Is the commercial. Have you seen that? Where he's like, it's like that. Yes. And he's like, you don't know, of course you don't understand. Because you're a fucking dog. He's like whispering in his ear.
They do. Sure I truly believe they understand energy and tone.
Yeah.
But language is beyond that. If you're
without a doubt, they understand that. Mm-hmm. And I think they can remember, like, obviously names where it's just like if you say it the same way. Oh yeah. If you were to say Minnow, like Minnow, she would have no clue. But if you go Minnow, well, you always do. She's like, huh? You know?
Yeah. I also just go, hey, hey. That's just.
Yeah, I do a lot of. What you?
Oh. You have to break these two. You have to break these two wall sconces that like keep
3 wall sconces.
Oh, there's 3.
Uh-huh.
And like they're so.
Like you're calling them sconces too, like they're light fixtures.
That's what they look like.
They do, yeah.
I think they're actually like healing crystals or something.
Yeah, it's like a weird crystal with like a ball of energy at the end of it, I think. If I recall correctly.
But is that crystal the same material as the sample from the beginning of the game?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
There's not nearly enough exposition to tell me that.
All right. Well, I thought this channel could explore different lore theories.
If there was more to go off of, for sure.
I didn't like this boss battle at all.
Oh my god, I fucking hated it.
I thought it was a very awkward difficulty spike.
Every time one of the portals hit me too, I'd get furious.
Yeah,
because I'd have to go into one of the newer rooms. This like I get. So like it's in the past. There's a few games we've played recently where I'm getting frustrated with a video game for the first time in years. You know what I mean? Where most of the time with video games, if I start to get to a point where I'm like, this is starting to make me feel a negative emotion, I'm gonna stop playing it because I don't have to. But like MDK2 specifically was the first time in years where.
But now I'm forcing you to hurt yourself.
Yeah, you're for you. Definitely not the viewers requesting us to play these games. MDK2 was the first game in a long time where like I set the controller down and was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. You know what I mean? Like where the first time I felt real rage at a video game for the first time again since I was like 17 years old. And Nihilanth was one of those where I'm sure you can see in the streams more than once I had to like take a moment, set the things down and just be like,
I turned on cheats by this point because I was like, this is so fucked up.
You had told me you had, and I really considered it.
And I couldn't, I commend you for not. And when I was younger, I wouldn't have, but I'm too old. There's too many other games that can challenge me without making me feel like it's just platforming has been such a like a background part of this game. It's not where the game has ever excelled.
No.
So to make the culmination of all events an incredibly frustrating platforming section mixed with not really like fun combat, because the combat in Half-Life is fun because the enemy AI and the way enemies can interact with the environment.
The way that they are unpredictable also and what they're going to do. Whereas you might think, okay, well, this is this guy. He's going to do this. Absolutely not. Sometimes they'll blow themselves up. Sometimes they'll run in an opposite direction. Sometimes they'll separate entirely and like go hide and wait for you to come find them. You know what I mean?
You gotta really, but this is just, the boss is just there in the center of the screen, taking up the entire screen. And it's just not, it doesn't play into what I think any of the game's strengths are. And that's why I was so frustrated by it. Cause I go, it would be so much more sick to have like, I don't know, like a giant skirmish.
Well, like giving me a bullet sponge final boss is such a fucking cop out. You know what I mean? I feel like it's such a lazy thing to do. Or I can't remember the specific games we've talked about it, but there's been other games we've played for the I've played where the bosses are just like, or like the enemies are just effectively like, okay, you've got this guy. Or I can't remember which game, but it was like when you raise the difficulty, all it really did was make it so that the enemies MDK2, yeah, all it really did was make it so that the enemies took like 3 times more ammo to kill.
They literally gave them smaller health bars.
Yeah, that's all they did.
In lower difficulties.
Yeah, that's all it was. They didn't do anything with the AI. There was no change in it. And this just feels like such a fucking cop-out because you're like, it's the final boss of a game where you have to think about how to solve every problem. And you have to, like, move these objects or, like, okay, find this person or get this and, like, you know, activate these things, get it going. And then finally, for the last boss, it's like, just fucking shoot at it till it's dead, I guess. And destroy these 3 things that are, like, clearly the only weird thing in the entire room. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but you never have to, like, I don't know, break other stuff in the game too often.
No, you never
Usually,
did.
like,
I wouldn't
switches.
have known how to do, and the thing is, I wouldn't have really known how to do any of this if I hadn't watched the walkthrough.
No.
I had to watch a video.
And I guess it
walkthrough.
could be, well, you could use your deduction skills to figure out like you did the rest of the game. It's like, yeah, but
Yes.
also the rest of the game I was able to use logic.
But also
Like-
you'd then have to like you'd be forced to die at least like 10 times. I feel
Yeah.
like. And I probably died. I don't even want to think of the number. Probably 20 times.
It's just, I guess
At
it's been like
least.
in the main game you get to use logic, whereas in this you need to
It's a process of elimination.
you
almost.
need to like experiment more before you can understand the logic of the situation.
Yeah.
And it's like that's not really the same type of fun where it's
No.
like I should be able to like be like this makes sense.
Yeah.
And anything new in the game that like might like, you know, affect your ability to just attack a problem logically is demonstrated very clearly.
For you.
And then you go, I get it. I can use that now. This, it really just took everything out of left field and just...
Yeah, it even took me a minute to figure out because I didn't, even when I watched the walkthrough, I didn't watch all of the walkthrough because I wanted to be like, oh, okay, I've got to do this, and then it'll, you know
Yeah,
what I mean?
same here.
Because I try to just be like, I try to get the piece of information that I think I need and not get anything more when I
Me
when I
too,
look up walkthroughs
totally.
and stuff. Because I don't want to get too much. I'm like, this is the thing I'm stuck on. Tell me how to get
know.
past this
It'd
bump.
be nice just to get like a vague hint.
Yes.
Like, can you just like point me in the right direction?
Yeah. Can't you just can't you just be like, oh, maybe try going up here and looking at it from this angle? I'd be like,
Yeah.
oh, and then you get there and you're like, oh, you know. But this was very much like, I mean, like his head opens at the end. And I remember when his head opened, I shot rockets in there and shot a few grenades. Nothing happened. So I go, okay, that's not what I need to do.
Same. Again, no clear indication the enemy's really taking
Yeah.
damage. So I just kept I go, I'm going to just commit and just do this, I guess. And just...
I had to look up the walkthrough and it told me to do it. Then
It's only because I go, I don't see what else it could be.
I hear you. Where there
And
was
I
really
was
nothing
just
else.
like, the only reason I thought this was
I had to stop a stream.
Gonarch didn't, I remember, Gonarch didn't show that it was taking damage either, so maybe this one won't. And it's like, that kind of sucks.
Yeah. I cut off the stream. I wanted to go I was planning on finishing that night. And I had to be like, I
know,
can't
I think
do
you
this.
streamed like 21 minutes after that. Like,
Yeah, the next night was literally
Half-Life
like
1.
21 minutes of Half-Life 1. Then I was like, let's return to Half-Life 2. Because I had looked up the walkthrough in the in-between. But I was like, I can't fucking do this anymore tonight. I'm going to lose my mind. Oh.
Endgame.
One of the worst final bosses of any game I've played, I think.
Worse than the Quantum Break final boss.
Yes, worse than Paul Serene.
Paul Serene's up there for... and you know, part of me, the criteria for worst boss is worst boss for that game.
Yes.
It's like in relation to the rest of the game, it's like, whoa,
How is
that's a weird turn to take.
Yeah, wow, I've never done anything like this, and also this is not fun.
Yeah. Great final bosses. I don't know. Mario 64 Bowser.
Oh, Mario 64 Bowser might be one of the best bosses of all time.
Most of the Mario Party bosses too are pretty sick.
Super Mario Bros.
Right, yeah,
you mean?
Mario Mario RPG, I mean.
Oh, yeah, all the Mario RPG bosses are sick. I like all of them.
Did you beat that game?
I still haven't.
Man, it gets better and better.
I know. I got really far.
I know. Lost your save.
Uh-huh.
That's
No.
crazy.
Sarah wants to do
Mario 64, Super Mario 64 at some point.
Get the PC port.
That's
Get
what
it
I
set
have.
up.
Mm-hmm.
Man,
That's what I have, so I'm going to do that.
it is so sick. I for the channel a while back, early in the channel, I finally got all 120
I remember that's
stars.
I don't know if you remember. I was one of the only viewers back
Oh,
then.
yeah.
I was always in all those live streams. That was during COVID, I think.
I think it was very early into COVID.
Mm-hmm. And I was just hanging out at home, and I just watched you guys play that.
It was a very good game. Crazy how good it is, and how that decompilation PC port. It like I played the original not that long ago, and I was like, it's still good, but man, like having it on like work great with the dual analog sticks.
Yeah, that's sick.
The game is so fucking tight. It's such a good game, and it's crazy how 3D platformers are so bad.
I don't know how it seems like they got worse. You know what I mean?
I think Nintendo is very skilled at certain types of games.
Like I said before, the only ones that I can really, genuinely, the only like titles post that are Jak and Daxter and the Ratchet and Clank games.
I'm looking forward to trying those soon.
Where I feel like they did a good job with the platforming.
I'm very much looking forward to that. When we get to the Endgame section, you're with the G-Man. There's a quick quote here from G-Man.
Time to choose, Gordon.
There is a poop in my butt.
There is a growth on my anus. I've been holding in a poop for too long, Gordon.
Why can't I shoot you?
Why do my bullets not affect you?
When Gordon comes to his senses, he finds himself in front of the G-Spot Man. Both are transported to various locales around Zen, while the G-Man praises Gordon's actions in the border world, to later explain that his, quote, employers, unquote, have agreed that Gordon has limitless potential.
I too have limitless potential.
And they've authorized him to offer Freeman a job. The G-Man and Gordon are teleported a last time to a tram car, flying through space at immense speed. By stepping into a portal and knowing that his only other choice is a battle he has no choice of winning, Gordon accepts the G-Man's offer. Finding himself floating in nothingness, he hears G-Man's voice one last time. Wisely done, Mr. Freeman. I will see you up ahead. I'm coming.
I've found my own G-spot, Gordon. I didn't go through the portal.
I didn't either. I go, and then you get zapped into a room with a bunch of enemies that don't attack
there's
you.
like 100 grunts and they all start turning towards you and you go, huh?
And then it just ends.
Mm-hmm.
You get like the little Gordon Freeman.
I was hoping
Terminated.
it would be like Final Halo comparison. The end of Halo Reach.
I'll tell you what I think it was supposed to be like afterward.
I was hoping it would be like at the end of Halo Reach, it does this thing where it's like and it's like the canon ending of the game, where it's like, you're now the only Spartan or human left on this planet. You know what I mean? They've pulled away and they've decided we can't take this. And it's like, just survive for as long as you can now. And what it is like waves of enemies start coming. And you can ostensibly survive for as long as you can, but it just keeps getting harder and harder and harder. And at a certain point, you really cannot win. You know what I mean? I was hoping it would be something like that, where it'd be dropped into like an arena. You know what I mean? It would be like Quake or something, where suddenly there's just like these waves of enemies coming at me and I've got my weapons and I got to fight them off. And obviously you can't win, you know what I mean? But it would still be cool to do that. I think.
That's pretty much what I was thinking of. Do you remember the One starring Jet Li from 2001?
Yes. Uh-huh.
And
is that the one where he has the collar?
I think so.
Yeah.
But at the end, he gets teleported to like the Hell Planet world, and it's just like he just has to like fight. The end of the movie is him just like, all right, time just to fight.
Fight forever, for the rest of eternity, potentially, yeah.
I kind of like was hoping for something like that, which is not that different from what you're saying. Like maybe eventually you'd have to give out, but like I thought like
eventually.
hey,
you have
let me
to
try,
die,
but it's just a cutscene.
Yeah.
And the canonical ending is Gordon accepts the G-Man's offer, which I think is a bitch move that Gordon wouldn't do.
Yeah, I don't think Gordon would do it either, to be honest. I don't like the... Overall, I don't love the ending of the game. You know what I mean? I get why they had to do it.
I don't like that one ending is you lost. The other ending is good job. It's over.
Mm-hmm. Good job. You did a good job.
Because the other one, like it does treat it. I think it brings you back to you die. It's not like the game ends and that's the ending. It's like you got a game over if you choose.
Oh yeah, no,
if
you
choose
die.
not to
Yeah.
go.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not really like an ending. You know
Well,
what I'm trying to say?
I think credits just roll afterwards.
Maybe
Because I don't
Oh,
remember.
maybe so. Maybe so.
I
thought
credits
not.
just roll.
I thought
But it's
credits
not the
didn't roll.
It's not the canon ending though.
Well, Gordon goes into stasis or whatever and wakes up 20 years later and gets into some wacky adventures that we'll discuss in a future episode.
Mm-hmm.
But this game was preceded by 2 expansion packs developed by Gearbox Software,
Gorbooks.
who also made significant work on Duke Nukem Forever, which I'd love to cover sometime on the channel. It kind of sucks.
Is it the one No, Duke Nukem 3D is the one I downloaded.
That one's really good.
Yeah. Duke Nukem 3D is the one I still have.
You told me that you hadn't played these, and what I remember about these was I somehow had copies of these. Maybe they were burned, maybe they were borrowed, but I didn't own Half-Life. But I had Opposing Force and I had Blue Shift, and you could play them as standalone expansions without needing to have Half-Life.
Oh, because you didn't need the base game to okay, that's pretty cool. I
Pretty
remember
cool.
a lot of stuff back then working where it's like you need, like with Sims specifically, you couldn't just like go on vacations in Sims. You had to have the base game and then get the vacations expansion.
Right. So I mean, we should get into those, but I mean, to me, it's all Half-Life.
Yeah, for sure, it's all Half-Life. Well, because all they are, which I think is very cool, and it now after playing them, like I said to you, it makes me understand Half-Life Alyx more. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Because to me, I was like, why the fuck would they do that? That feels like a cop-out to wait as long as... It still feels like a cop-out to wait as long as they did and then release that. It's like, fuck off, guys. You know what I mean? Like, don't wait 12 years or 15 years, however long it was, and then release a game that doesn't advance the story at all. You know what I mean? Whereas, like, Opposing Force and Blue Shift were cool because you just see a different perspective of the same story you've already played through.
Right. So in Opposing Force, your commander, maybe Adrian Shepard.
You're corporal.
Oh,
Your corporal commander. You're Corporal Shepard, though.
yeah, Adrian Shepard, and in Blue Shift, you are Barney Gumble.
Barney Rubble.
Yeah,
His name's Calhoun.
Barney Calhoun, Slim Calhoun.
Brian Gumble.
These only girls wanna fuck. Is that Slim Calhoun? Might be.
I don't know Calhoun.
All these lonely girls wanna fuck. It's okay. It's a great lyric. I remember those days.
Okay.
So yeah, Opposing Force came out 1 year to the day after Half-Life, and I thought it was so cool seeing orange Half-Life, green Opposing Force, Blue Shift. Blue Shift started as an exclusive expansion that was going to be part of the Dreamcast port.
Oh, okay.
But when the Dreamcast port got nixed, they wrapped up work on it and released it as... And that's why Blue Shift, I'd say, is pretty weak and maybe not even worth playing, even if you are a big fan of Half-Life. I don't think it's that... It doesn't really give anything.
Yeah, I didn't get anything out of it. I did not finish Opposing Force.
Wow.
Did finish Blue Shift. Completed the game. Opposing Force, it gets hard.
Did you like it?
I did really like it, but it just got very difficult.
Damn. I was really hoping you had finished it.
And then I got into Half-Life 2 and I got into Inscription and stuff recently, and I just haven't picked it back up.
It's okay.
But I think if I remember right, I believe I was like probably like 75% of the way through it.
Man, I think Opposing Force is, in some ways, a tighter game than the original Half-Life.
I have to agree a little bit because there's certain mechanics that feel better. You know what I mean?
Did you get the grappling hook?
I did not get the grappling hook.
Holy shit.
Oh, yes, I did. Yeah. Because that's
the alien.
The alien
the
arm. Yes,
sucker
yes.
thing,
The sucker
it's
thing.
called.
Yes.
It works so well.
Which is very cool. So, like, I believe one of the final things I did was defeated the, like, weird worm thing. the worm and the radioactive shit. It's similar.
It's similar to the blast pit.
It's similar to blast pit. That's one of the final things I did in Opposing Force.
Okay, yeah, you got a little ways to go. The last boss is also pretty wild. It's like coming out of a large portal, and it uses platforming and navigation to a degree, but not in an annoying way.
Not as annoying as Nihilanth.
No, it's pretty manageable. It's almost like a weird tower defense kind of thing. And it's just pretty fucking tight.
It was very fun. I liked the weapons more maybe in that one too.
Yes, me too. And also I really liked, did you get to any parts where you were like, linked up with your boys?
Yes, that was cool.
Which they brought back for Half-Life 2.
Where you can send them out to areas and stuff.
Yeah, you basically have like an engineer, a medic, and like a
couple gunners.
Yeah, an armory guy.
Yeah.
Man, just I played Opposing Force more than Half-Life probably because I owned it.
Because you had it, yeah. It wasn't something you had to play at somebody else's house.
Yeah. And I loved working with the other teammates and stuff, and it just that hadn't really happened in other games outside of I want to say like Rainbow Six, like the Tom Clancy games. Maybe SWAT was around back then. It was always super tactical.
Yes.
And it wasn't like fun action shooters that gave you squads.
I think maybe they might do it a tiny bit in Call of Duty, the first Call of Duty.
Yes. Well, you're always with your troop, but
I remember you being able to like
same.
command a squad a little bit a couple times, at least to just like send them to an area. You could be like click E and they'll go here. You know what I mean?
I have a vague memory of that. Yeah.
It wasn't a big part of it though.
Yeah, but it wasn't like a super common thing.
No.
Anyway,
No.
In action games like this, and that I don't know, that just really connected with me back then. And
Opposing Force was very cool. It felt like Blue Shift felt like an expansion. Opposing Force felt, or like an add-on, I should say.
Yeah.
Opposing Force felt like another fully realized game to a degree.
Yeah, it's shorter than Half-Life, but still you can get 3 to 7 hours out of it easily.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think I have 5 hours in it and I didn't finish it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And it really introduces some cool stuff. Like there's one part, I don't know if you got to, where they're not the gargantuans. They might be. They're similar to them though. Very powerful enemies. And you're in a sort of tunnel system. You have to use night vision, and you can only see them when they're close. And there's like a bunch of them. You have to go through like a maze, and like it's so intense.
Definitely didn't
like
get to that.
and just like having these like night vision like dungeon crawling type sections are like brutal. The grappling hook stuff is so sick.
The grappling hook stuff was cool.
It's a very, very, very good expansion. It gives me everything I like about Half-Life plus some new mechanics, and it's tighter.
And I like you have 2 melee weapons too. You don't just have the crowbar,
right?
You got the knife and the
combat
wrench.
knife.
You know what I mean?
So with the wrench, yes.
Because in the wrench, and then also with the wrench, you have the alternative attack. Where you have the slow attack, you have the quick attack, and the heavy attack.
Yeah.
So if you just want to break shit, you can just fucking.
Yeah. Is that just like left, right mouse?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's really fucking good, and I don't know if there's like a better expansion I've played.
I don't think so.
It's really up there. It's such a fully realized campaign that it makes Blue Shift feel like even more of a bummer. Where it's like Blue Shift is like pretty mid to begin with, but like it
just feels Blue Shift
not memorable.
When you again, it's another one where like with the final levels of Half-Life base game, where like knowing that it was just supposed to be it was more just supposed to be like a bonus for Dreamcast users. You know what I mean? Knowing that, it makes sense why it didn't feel so fully. It felt like they were kind of like, nah, we'll just do it real quick. Just pump it out, get it done.
Yeah.
Send it out. It'll be something for them. People will be like, oh, cool, you get to see Gordon get dragged from a different perspective. You know what I mean? But then
Gordon's getting dragged.
He's getting dragged, baby. But like even like the ending was super fucking like you're like, oh, we made it out in a car.
It didn't really. I was like, oh, is there gonna be like a big crescendo here?
You just like teleport around And like they're like, maybe you won't make it, and you get teleported to a few different spots, and then it's like, here you are at the fucking pickup, your Chevy Tahoe. Get out of here.
Which game is it where there's the spinning thing that has like all these like platforms in it, and there's a set of teleporters you have to like jump in, and they're all marked like floor 1, floor 2, floor 3. You may not have played this. If it's
No. It's Opposing Force, I think.
And you have to, it's basically like a teleporter maze. It's a pretty intense teleporter maze. Yeah,
because there's like the stack of them, and you got to hop on them. Then you're getting attacked.
But you can't just like go. You go in one. You don't know where you're gonna wind up.
That must be Blue Shift.
That's the most interesting part of.
Yeah. The one thing I wanted to explore more in Blue Shift that I didn't get to was you have the teleporter gun in Blue Shift, where at multiple points throughout the game, if you right click, you can teleport yourself into Zen. If you use the alternative attack with that weapon, you'll teleport yourself to Zen. And I used that a couple times.
What? I don't know about that at all.
I used that a couple times to get out of like a risky spot where I was like, I'm a little overwhelmed.
And then what?
Here.
You teleport back out from the same...
You have to either find a portal, or I believe you have to click the right trigger again. You'll find ammo and create a teleport to take you back to the labs. And you can do it at points where if you get teleported to Zen, you will just fall to your death because you weren't supposed to do it there. It was a bad spot to do it. You know what I mean?
I was not really aware of this.
It was pretty fucking cool. That part was kind of cool.
I don't know how I missed that.
Yeah, it's one of your weapons that you have. I think you have it instead of the like weird ring shooter thing you get in the base game.
Probably just didn't fuck with it.
Yeah, you can use it as a regular gun if you just click the standard attack, but if you click the alt,
I almost never use the alt fire.
I checked alt fire. I checked alt fire on every weapon.
I kept forgetting to.
Some of them don't have one.
I know. That's why I was like, oh, it'll be obvious if it does.
Not always.
Damn.
Because the shotgun's not obvious, the pistol isn't obvious. You know what I mean?
I would say worth your time to finish up Opposing Force if you get the itch to play a little Half-Life.
And if you've got the time, I think there's interesting stuff in Blue Shift.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't recommend it. Per se.
I would recommend it. I wouldn't say it's required playing. Because like Opposing Force, I feel like Opposing Force is like, that was really good. I might not have finished it.
It's really good.
But it's really fun. And I would be like, if you're going to play Half-Life, definitely also play Opposing Force.
For sure. Mm-hmm. Blue Shift is just kind of interesting.
Like if you really loved the other ones and you wanted to get a little more, play Blue Shift. You know what I mean? But you're not going to
even play Blue Shift and then play Opposing Force. So you're not like you don't end on a down note.
Yeah, do that.
Because like Blue Shift also I think felt kind of lame to me as like here's the finale. Mm-hmm. It's like actually the finale should have been Opposing Force. It's so much stronger. We also did you get to play any Black Mesa recently?
Not this time around. No.
Well, I got a good number of hours into it.
You had said that,
maybe halfway through the game.
Well, and your experience is what made me go, I'm not going to put the effort into it. You know what I mean?
I really didn't like it. First of all, I had tons of bugs. Mm-hmm. It has an issue where it thinks the controller's plugged in when it's not, or something. So I couldn't I made a funny video about it that I thought was funny, but
I saw it. Yeah,
you can't do the button that you can't one for shotgun or whatever, or you can. Yeah. You can, yes, you can, but the numbers are shifted. So I don't know why they're not the same as in the first game. Mm-hmm. And people are like, oh, you can change that. And it's like, link me to the mod or the thing. What do I gotta do? Do I edit the INI file or something? People are like, oh, you can fix it. It's like, I don't know how. And like when I look up how to fix these old games, there's so much conflicting information. I don't know what the fuck to do. Mm-hmm. Half the time I see a tutorial that like seems like it's good, and I realize the person's an idiot. I don't know. And so
it's a frustrating existence we live.
It just kind of stinks. And then I just didn't like it. It was so dark. You have to have your flashlight on like most of the game. There's no battery on the flashlight.
That's what I remember from my original playthrough. Because I want to say
they had to make it scary.
I played through this the first time when it dropped.
I played it around
2012. 2013.
It was between 2012 and 2015.
It was right around
a lot of it.
Because I remember I believe I was in Potsdam.
It wasn't finished until like 2 years ago or something.
No. And I remember playing through it then and being like, getting a good chunk of the way through it, and then just being like, I'm going to go back to regular Half-Life.
I just don't see it as an improvement. It blows my mind that so many people do think it's a perfect remake and it replaces Half-Life for them.
Well, here's the thing. There are people out there who I've heard people, oh my God, and these people drive me fucking insane. I watched a video one time when I was trying to figure out how to fix Alan Wake and it turns out I can't fix it. You know what I mean? Even with the updates that they made, I still don't have enough VRAM, blah, 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 whatever. Game still looks like shit when I play it.
Dang.
There are people out there who will say stuff like, if this game doesn't run at 60 FPS on your PC, there's not even any fucking point in launching it. You know what I mean? You shouldn't even touch the game or look at it. And I'm like, I've definitely played games at probably 15 FPS the entire game and had a great time. You know what I mean?
People don't have a tolerance for that.
But some people I think will also be like, it looks better. It's the only way to play it.
Yeah.
I cannot look at that old graphic. It hurts my eyes. Like the same people who will tell you, like, I can tell the difference between 40 and 45 FPS. And it's like, no, you can't. You know what I mean? Maybe like a videographer can, a cinematographer, someone who like does that professionally, has studied that their whole life. But like a regular fucking person, you shut up. A regular fucking person cannot differentiate 5 frames per second. We've had this argument on the channel before.
Not since Andrew left.
No, I know. Because he has the opposing opinion. He thinks he can, and I'm telling him he can't.
Well, he's a very successful videographer, so don't give him any shit.
He fucking can't tell the difference. Maybe 30 and 60, I'll give you that. You can differentiate between those two things.
I will never finish Black Mesa. I don't give a fuck. I don't think it's that good. I think it's kind of corny to do a fan remake of a game to begin with. It's like, it's neat, but it's neat where it's like, oh, I wrote a song about Half-Life. It's like, all right, cool. I mean, obviously this is like it's a huge undertaking. Yeah. It's so impressive that fans could come together and even finish a project like this.
But you also kind of, to a degree, ask why.
I go, you know what? You know what would have been some.
She's ripping at that door. Good.
She's more of a shoulder cat.
Will you chill up here?
She likes to be held like she's being burped. Oh,
she just kept going. I couldn't even begin to.
What I really, really want more than anything is, can you get me the original game running smoothly on my PC at a nice high resolution with a steady frame rate?
Yeah,
that's the thing I really want. And maybe if it's something like Resident Evil, the texture pack, remember the HD? They went in, they found the original reference images, and it's like they didn't go, let's replace this stuff. I mean, in some instances they may have, but like in general, they're like, what can we do to fully enhance the original game?
Well, because what they're doing is they're trying to say, let's take the vision that these people had when they originally created it, and let's give them the technology that we have now. Like, imagine what the Resident Evil creators would have done had they had the technology we do now.
Right.
They would have done what they did with the HD. You know what I mean? Reskin or whatever.
It's the same choices, just presented through a nice filter.
You're pulling from the exact same source material. You know what I mean? Literally some of the same exact, like, what's it called?
Just the reference
storyboarding and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Reference images. Yeah.
Yeah.
I couldn't think of the word.
It's
Concept art.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also, like, you know, there are times where they like have like a door. You know, they use like a real life photo of a door.
Oh, yeah.
And then the person went to the actual door in real life and took a new photo of it, because the old photo was like low resolution. Yeah, and it still existed because he was like, he lived in I think part of Spain,
right, where a lot of that stuff is maintained and kept up.
And it's like, that's an incredible level of dedication. Yeah. But I've seen similar stuff where there's old reference libraries of textures and stuff that were used a lot for early 3D games. And people have been able to go and find like the original source files for a lot of the textures used in Nintendo 64 games.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because I mean it's a texture they're mapping around a shape, so it's not like a 1-to-1 of the image. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I mean that even was a thing with Resident Evil 4, where an artist found that they were using that without licensing it.
Oh, okay, fuck.
For like for the logo for Resident Evil 4, like there's like a sort of like a spider webby type pattern over it, and it's just like they just used her photo and superimposed it over the text, but then didn't license the image, and it was like a licensable image, I think, from a some kind of library or something, but or the artist published it in a book. But regardless, all I'm saying is like this stuff goes fucking deep, and there are people out there doing the work to find these source images.
I think it's impressive as hell, but I think, like you said, where it's like with certain things, like with Black Mesa, where you're like, why are you doing this? You know what I mean? Why wouldn't you do it differently?
I would just go, why wouldn't you can you just give me the original? Just like make it, just
Why
make
not
it
just
tighter, make it.
playable for us. It's like right now you're dealing with a lot of this because you're doing the Tale of Two Wastelands.
Oh my God.
But I mean,
basically like 48 hours of research and mod installation just to get it so the game doesn't crash. But I'm not installing any visual mods,
any extra
or
mods,
gameplay
no.
mods.
I noticed that too. I saw you uploaded the no commentary playthrough of your first section of the playthrough, and I was like, I just wanted to peek at it to see what it looked like. You know what I mean? And wonder what they're gonna do. And they're really graphically no differences really.
I don't want. Yeah, I would like
and you didn't
to not have any.
Yeah, that's the same. I'd rather just play the game. I want to play the game I played when I first played it. But today.
Yeah, and I want it to work.
I want it to not crash.
It's like, you know,
I don't want the baby noise to happen when I open a door, and I don't want to walk into the fucking Prospector Saloon, and when I walk in, everything's black and there's no floor and everyone's floating. And if I walk to the wrong spot, I just fall forever.
Yeah, no thanks. But that's why I go, the fan remakes in general, I'm really not in favor of. Don't make a remake if it's a game that I can't play.
Yeah.
You know what I'm trying to say? I would rather first do a restoration project.
Mm-hmm.
And once that is secured, then let's do a remakes. Remakes are fun, and sometimes they're really wonderful games on their own. I'm not against remakes in general. It just seems like it sucks when it's like, oh, you can't play the original because it doesn't work.
Yeah.
And there was a fan patch, but that was 7 years ago, and it no longer works, and there's no devs updating it.
Master Chief Collection is maybe one of the best examples of that. Of like, I mean, that's not a fan project. That's a studio doing it, but where they have that set up. And I remember when they first dropped the Halo remaster, the Halo 1 remaster. I said it was going to be the last time I compared it to Halo, but goddamn, here we are again. There was an option throughout the entire game where you're playing through the game and it's the HD remake.
But if you press select.
Yeah, you press select and it takes you back to the original graphics and you're just playing the original game again.
That is what they did with the leaked Xbox Live Arcade port of GoldenEye.
Oh, okay. I fucking loved that. That was, and I mean, there would be a second of loading, you know what I mean? Like a split second, or it would be like, and then it would click in. So cool. Absolutely loved it.
Like a few frames, maybe.
Yeah, but nothing, not a huge deal. It was so cool, too, because I love that, too, because then you can go into the areas and you can be like, oh, this is what it looks like. What did it used to look like?
Yeah.
And you do it, and then you go, oh, that's what and you can see exactly what they changed and how they changed it. And I don't know.
I appreciate that as a way to like
so cool.
preserve both in the same package, and that's really interesting.
Because then you're not taking away from the value of either game.
No,
you're not taking away from the value of the remake or from the original.
And
you know
I like showing how one can influence the other and how one can be inspired by the other.
I don't know. It was so cool. I'll still hop back into those every now and then. The Master Chief Collection, because those first 3 Halo games were so like formative for me.
Yeah,
in video gaming.
And like, I don't know, like, so like I said, we were lucky to have played at the 25th anniversary when there was a huge official patch for Half-Life. But who knows? Like, I had trouble with shit. Like when I was trying to play Half-Life a few years ago, like the game will be in the right resolution, but the menus won't be. So like, I can't fucking read anything.
I used to run into shit like that all the time when I was trying to play.
And still like that in Half-Life 2.
Where I mean, in Half-Life 2, you had to send me all the fixes to put in. You know what I mean? And some of them literally midstream to fucking figure out.
And it wasn't easy because like it was like, oh, do this fix, and like it'd be like, oh, well, okay, but that won't work unless you do this other fix first. And I didn't know that because I had to go to like find the fix and then like find the troubleshooting for that fix.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It wasn't all in one place. I had to like be like, I'm having this problem. Oh, you have to do this other thing, and it was crazy that. It's the kind of thing, too, where because some gamers are so, like... Well, one of it is, like, it seems like some people are willing to change the graphics and do all these high texture mods or high-res texture mods and, like, lighting overhauls or shaders or whatever because they want to, like, beautify the game.
Yes.
Whatever that means for them. And which I think is... fine, but I think a lot of those people are already deeply familiar with the original. And when I want to experience the original game for the first time, or even the first time in my memory, you know what I mean? It's like, I played Half-Life 2 at launch. I don't really remember it. I'd like to know what it was like without all these, upgrades to the visuals and
Absolutely.
and I don't really want like the balancing and the gameplay and stuff, because that's like, okay, maybe it is imbalanced, but I want to feel that.
I want to play the
and then
imbalanced
maybe I
version,
want the option to change it if I choose to.
Yeah.
But like you had the option to go, oh, I've played the original, I want to make a mod that changes this. You're only doing that because you have a point of reference. I want the same opportunity, the same point of reference. And it was very hard to find info on how to run Half-Life 2 vanilla.
Yeah. I mean, like,
because people treat visual enhancements as essential mods.
Yeah, we were talking about that with the Tale of Two Wastelands, where it's like I think that's part of what I started running into when I tried to do it a while ago, because it's like you run into so many conflicting opinions on like, well, you've got to do this and you got to do this. I'm like, I just want to play Fallout New Vegas.
It's like, oh, you're a whine ass, and that's why you've got to do this, because you can't handle like, oh, the game doesn't have an FOV slider. It's like, I don't know, man. It was fucking 25 years ago. Let it go.
You're like,
it's fine. It looks fine.
There are modern titles coming out right now with no FOV slider.
It's like, just get over. It's not unplayable. You just need to accept what it is. Customization's great, and that's kind of like why I think people choose PC gaming all the time. But also, I just it's optional stuff, and I don't always want to implement it, and I don't want to be beholden to people who think it's essential.
No.
When I'm just trying to understand how to get a game to run. And it sucks that it's almost never the devs themselves who are helping make these
or
things
even
happen.
Involved in it. You know what I mean? You'd hope that there'd be like, if I like
Zoom platform, I'll say, will continue to do
if I worked on
games.
Fallout New Vegas, and then even say I was still working at Bethesda, or say I wasn't anymore, and I saw that there's these people trying to get this thing going to get New Vegas running, I'd hop in those forums. You know what I mean? I mean, like, maybe it's a matter of legality or something. Maybe
I'm sure it is.
But I mean, like, I'd hop in those
forums.
forums.
Can you work on a thing? You know what I mean? Are you working? I don't know.
You can create a fucking fake username. You can do whatever the hell you want. Nobody needs to know about anything. You know what I mean? Like, as long as you're not stupid, you can get away with a lot of stuff.
Zoom platform will continue to keep patching games they've had access to or were selling on their storefront for years down the line. Postal devs runs with scissors.
Yeah.
They'll continue. I mean, they'll work on their games forever. I mean, they're still doing stuff like 10, 15, 20 years. They'll add updates and fixes as needed.
Oh yeah.
Like certain people go, hey, we're in business. We're selling this product. We should make sure it's working right for you. It seems very irresponsible to have games on your storefront. I understand sometimes the developer is no longer active, but if there's a publisher putting out a game and a storefront working with the publisher to sell that game, somewhere in that chain of command should be a quality control thing where it goes, hey, because the thing that sucks is there is almost always a fan-made solution. Why can that not just be implemented in a way that's
what frustrates me.
I don't get that.
You shouldn't be able to buy.
I know it's just money. It's just somebody needs to be paid to do that.
But you shouldn't be. But the reality is that like they're still selling these things, so you shouldn't be able to like. If there's laws in place where, and I realize there's a huge difference between obviously buying a video game and buying a car. But if I went and I bought a car and I bought it outright,
you wouldn't drive a video game.
And I took it home, and when I got home, I went to start it up the next day. And I couldn't drive the car, and it didn't work anymore, they'd give me my money back, and there were laws in place to protect me for that. You know what I mean? There's the lemon laws. But it's like, with video games, it's like, we bought the MDK2 HD remaster with money from you guys, you know what I mean? So that I could play it. We just have that now. It doesn't work. You know what I mean?
If you're under 2 hours, you can get a refund.
I am under 2 hours.
Well.
So I can refund it, yeah.
Well, shouldn't have to.
Yeah, I know that's where I'm. You shouldn't have to.
I know, but that's the thing too. Is like even with a car, it's like it's not really a good analogy to me because they wouldn't. And this has happened, but generally speaking, you don't sell an entire line of cars where everyone in the entire world who buys this car has the same potentially shitty experience. Where it's
That's
like, you know,
recalls and
there's a
stuff,
bunch of PC games where it's like,
At least not for like 40 years. That
yeah,
hasn't
where
been a
it's like,
thing,
it's like, okay, unless you're playing on original hardware, you actually can't run this game without these
Yeah.
fan-made fixes.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like my friend Derek, who just started New Vegas, you know what I mean? Like he's playing it on. I asked him what he was playing it on. He said, "Oh, I've got an Xbox 360, and I'm playing it on that." And I was like, "Perfect. Don't try anything else." You know what I mean? Like that's maybe the only way where you're going to be able to get it to work for the most part without any issues.
I'm running into that a lot more lately with certain games I'm trying to research for the channel where it's like, oh yeah, there's a PC port, but you're better off emulating the Xbox or Switch version.
Or emulating the Dreamcast version.
It'll be the you know, one of the next games we were requested from a Patreon supporter. I believe Will is the name. Deadly Premonition, a game that has been released several times over, has different ports. I think there was like a remaster or something, or some, because I don't really know how much was changed, but there was a re-release. There's like different editions,
many iterations of it. Yeah,
very conflicting messages on which is the best one to play. I just want to make sure it runs smoothly, and it's like, well, actually,
I'm not concerned
what does
about
that mean?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's gonna go
people
smoothly. Might be
Yeah.
frame rate, might be number of bugs or crashes. It seems like, and also sometimes some things are just broken. And with a game like this, Deadly Premonition, it seems like you need to pick precisely what's most important to you, and there's no one package that just makes it work real good.
Yeah, across the board.
All factors.
I'm very willing to sacrifice like FPS. You know what I mean? I'm willing to accept
resolution too. I don't mind.
Whereas like, because I've spent so much of my life playing on like playing Fallout 4 on like a Dell Inspiron 1450. You know what I mean? That cannot run it, just chopping the whole time. You know what I mean? But I don't fucking care.
Impossible.
Yeah, it's still fun. I'm playing it. You know. So I don't know. But if that game were to keep crashing and I kept losing my save data, I wouldn't put up with it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's everybody's got their different things.
Everybody's got different things. Yeah. Well, this has been a riveting conversation on the state of games, but also about Half-Life and the expansions and the remake. I hope there's never a Half-Life 3. I think it would be whack as hell.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where there's just been too much time, and if they were to do it now, literally no one would be happy with it. And I think they'd do bad, yeah.
Yeah. Although I would love if Valve just put out something new. I understand that they're going to piss people off if they release a game that isn't Half-Life 3, which they've done. With Half-Life Alyx even, but it's like, you know,
Half-Life Alyx was, I feel like, the worst thing they could have done, frankly. I feel like releasing another Half-Life game and not having it be Half-Life 3, they might as well have just like pissed into my open mouth, you know what I mean?
Well,
because it's
the fact that it's a game that majority of Half-Life fans won't be able to play.
That the bulk of any gamer can't play.
Although there has been like a fan-made 3D mod.
Why can't they just make a PC port? Why can't they just make a basic, like you said, 3D?
Enough time has passed.
Why can't they just
I understand you want to like push the VR technology. You know, they're investing in VR, but hey, we're not there yet, and we may never get there.
Yeah, and it's certainly not accessible yet. You know what I mean? Whether it's
there is a fan patch. I don't know how far along that is. I should check back in on it.
Yeah, they just got to drop a fucking basic 3D PC port. You know what I mean? And let people just play through it.
Make a new game.
Yeah, make a new game. Come a new IP.
New IP.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
I'll
try
it.
I'll try it. You know,
make sure it has really good jokes. You know, that's another thing we'll get into in the Half-Life 2 episode. Half-Life 1's not funny. Mostly, there's a couple small jokes. Half-Life 2 has like cheeseball sitcom humor all throughout, and I really don't care for that.
No. There are moments that I really don't like at all, and then other parts where I'm like, okay, that made me chuckle a little bit, you know what I mean? But the whole Lenore thing and Barney hating her and that whole thing just bugs me every time.
It's very generic. It's very tired. Anyway.
Yeah. I mean, that was the golden age of everybody loves Ramon, you know what I mean? Yes, dear.
Ramon!
8 Simple Rule. That was like the
Ramon!
that was like the peak of like single camera sitcoms. You know what I mean? Or multi-camera, maybe. I don't know what the fuck. I think those are single camera sitcoms.
No, well, it depends.
I think that was the heyday of that, though. King of Queens. That's when you had like the most on TV. I feel like. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But pretty bunk shows. Like sometimes a good joke or two, but you go, oh God, you just have these like bumbling stereotypes. I don't know. Whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Regardless, hey,
we're
thanks
getting
for
off
hanging out. Sorry about the loud cats.
You might not even hear the cats for a lot of it.
Thanks everyone here supporting the channel. Probably should have put you in the beginning, but we didn't.
Yeah.
Eat shit.
You're there.
Oh yeah, you're there. And we'll see you in the next one.
Who knows what it's going to be?
It's Half-Life 2.
Yeah, probably Half-Life 2. It's definitely Half-Life 2.
It'll definitely be Half-Life 2.
Definitely Half-Life
I don't see how it couldn't be.
I don't know if you finish in